starting stream, but it's not starting.
Why does it say 4 viewers?
It says 34 on my side.
No. In the OBS Ninja room.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
That's interesting.
Do we have a lurker?
Did you send out the OBS link instead of the?
Well, they would need a password. They would need a password.
They need a password.
It wouldn't be hard to guess.
Well, no, and they show up. I
Barnacules?
only see 3 people, and they would actually show up. I think what it's doing is it's. Oh no, never mind. It's double counting me. Okay. Because I added myself as the director into the video, so that
you count
probably
as 2
counts
people.
Okay,
that's nice. So you
Dude,
counted
that
yourself
sounds like
as 2
something
people.
I would do. That sounds like something I totally do. Is accidentally like share out the freaking link in like 5. That's happened before, by the way. Not on Tech Talk, but I've done that before, where it's like I created a thing to invite a guest like on a Twitch stream, and all of a sudden like 20 people just started being like, bling, 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 bling. I was like, oh no, what's happening? What have I done?
Opened our Discord server up one day. I was like, well, wait a second, this is crazy. Why is everyone being locked down like this? And my poor mods went nuts because I was like, all right, here you go. Here's an invite. And all of a sudden it was like, they're like, but that means that everybody on the internet can talk to your kids. I'm like, oh.
Wait, somebody said echo? What's going on with that?
Echo.
Here, let me listen to the stream back and see if we got a transient echo. Because I don't hear it on my side. Like we're good as far as this is going.
Yeah, I hear no echo.
Where did my uh-oh. I lost a window, gentlemen. Oh no, I got it back. Never mind. We're good. All right, let me unmute here. Oh no, I got it back. Never mind. We're good. All right, let me unmute here. Oh no, I got it back. Never mind. We're good. All right, let me unmute here.
I hear something talking.
It's Troy
You hear?
I hear something talking.
It's Troy. You pick it up like a radio station?
I don't hear any echo. Is there no echo?
I don't hear an echo, but I hear.
Uh-oh. David. I think we just lost you.
No. I stopped talking.
Oh, okay. You scared me.
I'm very good at acting like a scared squirrel listening.
Yeah.
Acting like a scared squirrel listening. Very similar to freezing.
Yeah, I don't hear any echo on the stream, so I think it might just be that one dude has like 5 windows open at the same time. Let me move this over here. I can do a little rearranging because every week this is like a new experience.
Of course.
That's the beauty of being me, is that every single time you do something, you forget how you did it before. So it's like a new
It's
thing.
like the Alzheimer's stream. We just forget everything every week, starting all over again. Wow, this internet's cool.
Wait, somebody said it's repeating. It's not an echo. Well, if it's repeating, that's probably because I unmuted the stream to listen back to it. It shouldn't be repeating right now.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
If it's still repeating right now, like let me know, because it should not be. It definitely should not be repeating.
It seems fine now.
Okay, and I'm not hearing anything like feeding back on me. So
I think we're good.
The echo message was from Aux. All right, I think we're good. See, the problem is there's like a delay on chat, so it's like every time you fix something, everybody's like, "Oh, there's a new problem," and you're like chasing it, and it's like already fixed, and then it's like 10 times worse, and they're like, "Yeah, it's working great now," and it's like you're just chasing your tail,
and you've just messed it. Yeah, you just messed the bed. All right, here we go.
So we got to find now. You good? It's repeating. Nope, it's not repeating.
Oh no. Give it a second.
So where's a mod?
We'll let
That's
it.
why I
we'll
don't
let it
listen
chill.
to chat. I listen to mods.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Miss Liz will be in here momentarily if she isn't already. I don't think she's ever missed a show ever. Miss Liz
She's
is
the
like
best, and she shows up on my shows as well.
She's the greatest mod ever. I swear, she's just. I picture somebody like Neo in the Matrix, right? She's just sitting there
with the big wall,
just a wall of monitors. Like she's literally the control
7
center for all
Twitch
live
streams.
streaming on the internet.
Get me out! Get me out!
All right, cool. Everybody says it's all fine. It's perfect. See, we just had to let them waves ripple out.
Yeah.
So you guys gotta be careful. ADHD kid like me and David, we'll chase this shit 24/7.
Oh my God.
Will just be us like enabling and disabling options till it breaks.
I'm still trying to fix last stream. Oh right, I wasn't there. Hey, I got a little present to show you. Look at this.
I want to see.
So I got given this.
Ooh, what is that?
Oh, I know exactly what that is. An iris.
Yeah,
Fire it up.
God,
Make it work, David. There you go. Oh,
perfect circles all the way down.
Cool. That's like one of those tools for like drawing, right? Isn't that like a drawing tool? Yeah.
Except I want to set it up and either be James Bond or like one of those Stargate.
Actually, dude, that would be cool for a James Bond.
And that's the end of our stream.
That's all, folks.
I mean,
I love it. That'd be cool.
Isn't that beautiful? It's just a gorgeous.
Where'd you get that?
That's a big thanks to Alan Malventano.
Oh,
Alan Malventano,
one of our resident geniuses on Tech Bandits.
Oh man, I want one of those. Could somebody send one of those to my PO box?
I gotta say, I stopped in on your Tech Bandits Twitch stream a couple days back, and it was the cutest thing in the world. It was so cool. All these,
that's right, I forgot. Of course,
all these kids and not that I have like a cynical outlook on children or anything.
Not at all, little brats. Yep.
No, they're awesome. Inexperienced little humans, right? It's freaking awesome. But they were very articulate, very like the discussion that was happening was very
behaved,
well behaved, civilized.
That's
It was great talk. I thought that was great.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
really cool.
They're great kids, and they're from all over the place now, right?
Yeah, that was. Oh yeah, we got this new Swedish gal or something.
Yeah,
and
that's Elsa from Sweden. Who's called herself Bat Food because she got attacked over and over again by the vampires when we played Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, nice.
So she's just renamed herself Bat Food.
That's actually
awesome.
Bat Food. She's in the chat.
Oh, she's in the jail. Fantastic. Yeah.
David, you should create a YouTube video that's basically like Xbox Live versus Tech Bandits, like just to see the difference in like intellect and adultness, like between the two, like, you know, because the Xbox kids would just be like bleep 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 your mom bleep 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 bleep, and Tech Bandits would be like asking like legitimate questions. Oh my god, it's so toxic.
Well, I mean, it's them. Like it's completely random. I have to every so often sort of say like, all right, one at a time, you know, but it's and they choose the topics for the most part. I'll come in with a bunch of topics, and if they're interesting, great. If they're not, they're not. So they talk about something else. It often comes back to gaming, but I'm fine with that too because I figure like it's just. And the other thing I love is they're on Discord, right? They're on Discord all the time, so they're chatting to each other all the time about stuff and sending stuff. Cool. And they like tomorrow they've got Baz and Noodles, I guess. They've got like some Minecraft. Server that they're going to do, so I'm going to go and stream with them while they play Minecraft. I feel kind of like I'm in the club. I'm like invited to play Minecraft with them and stuff. So yeah, it's great.
Oh my god, VR chat people versus Tech Bandits. Okay, VR chat's worse. Never mind.
Oh my god, yeah,
I had like one VR chat experience, and I was like, here's the thing. Like, I actually went to VR chat to experience the cringe. Like I was trying to like harken back to my days of being a troll myself, and in about 10 minutes, I just logged out. Like, it scared me.
You were thinking you were going to be the troll, and it turns out you were trolled.
Exactly. I went in there and I thought, you know what? I've been training for this for like 40 plus years, man. And I go in there and it's like 2 11-year-old kids just corner me, and I'm like, I don't feel right. I need to get out of here. I need an adult. Click, get out of here. So VR is kind of scary if you think about it, because like parents can see what their kids are doing if they have a screen there, right? Unless they're really good with alt tab and shit. You can sneak up on them. You can see what they're doing. With VR, you can't. With VR, it's like they could literally just be like sitting there and like, you know, sitting in the room, like, hey, you son of a bitch, yeah, I want to buy some drugs. Like, here, yeah, I can bring it on over here. Like, you'd never know. It's like, you know, they could be sitting on the school bus. Like, I don't know if the school bus allows them to play VR on school. Probably not. But they're all just puking all over the place.
Oh God, can you imagine trying to drive and be in VR at the same time? Oh, I get like a headache thinking about it.
Oh, I've actually done VR on an airplane. And it actually wasn't that bad. Yeah, I was just stationary watching a movie, like in the little movie theater experience, and it wasn't bad.
Although I don't get sick on planes like I do in cars.
Yeah.
Planes for some reason have I have no problems with. I guess I don't know.
Weird. I wonder if it's just because you can't see outside. Like there's nothing
maybe.
To lock onto. Like with a car, you're locking onto things that are moving around a whole bunch, and I bet you that's probably what's throwing you.
The only time I ever got sick on a plane was because one person threw up and then another person threw up, and it started like a chain reaction. And I was like, that's when I started getting the whole.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is. Somebody should do, I'm sure they already have, somebody should do research into why smelling vomit makes you vomit. Like, because it totally does. Like, I've had somebody throw up next to me and I just instantly start, like the cat with a hairball. Get me out of here. I gotta go.
There's a chemical that's released when things are biodegrading that causes that. And it's in your guts, right? Because you're rotting and breaking stuff down in your guts. Like people will tell stories of like coming into an apartment and immediately knowing that somebody's dead without having like seen the body yet.
Yeah.
Because death and decay releases a particular chemical. I know there's a name for it. Maybe Chad will probably bring it up, but it instantly triggers your brain to know that something is dead. And there's a similar thing with vomit, and they call it a sympathetic gag reflex. So when somebody else gags or vomits or something, you do too as a trigger, because whatever they ate, you probably ate.
You might have eaten too, yeah.
And so on. They're connected.
Oh, see, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. So like, yeah, if you're throwing up, if you see somebody else throwing up, you guys are probably eating together. So that's like your instinct telling you that, oh shit, whatever made them throw up is probably going to make you. So you got
to try and save you.
Oh, that's genius, actually.
You want to hear neat? There's apparently one of the problems that they have with Botox. Like, so people go and get Botox, they can't respond. They can't. Their faces don't respond the way they used to. And one of the problems is you become less sympathetic to them because there is an instinctive. Yeah, there's an instinctive mirroring of people. That normally happens in a conversation, and if you've had the Botox, your face is unable to do it, and you become less sympathetic to the person you're speaking to.
So it's like real life uncanny valley.
Just about.
Basically. Yeah. I just thought that was really neat, and then as a result, because you can't make the responses yourself, you become less sympathetic. So literally, a physical change is causing a brain change as well, which I thought
a little Botox in your face just ends up making you just like an asshole. Like you don't have to do anything, just like being in the
maybe it's just someone trying to figure out why people who, I don't know.
It's neat.
I cannot get over this. So the idea that people can inject themselves with jellyfish toxin, it just seems like, botulism, not jellyfish.
How do they come to that
temporary
conclusion?
paralysis?
Who's the person that was just sitting there? Like, I mean, it's like you always hear the stories about how shit's accidentally invented, right? It's like, how did somebody figure out, botulism, that shit that like kills people? Like, I bet you if we just like put a needle in your skin and inject it into like the muscle layer, that would paralyze the shit and make your face look better. Like,
well, they used it on twitches and muscles and stuff, and like they used it on medical procedures first, I'm sure.
Yeah, well,
because it's a valid thing. You can get rid of,
You're studying. Oh man, this guy died of botulism, like. And you're looking at the processes and stuff.
But he looks amazing.
Well, that's weird. Well, you notice, hey man, while he's dying of this, he died because of his stuff getting paralyzed or whatever. He can't breathe or right. You just eventually lock up and die. So like, well, that's interesting. I wonder if we can tweak that. Like, who'd thought to use nitroglycerin for heart attacks?
That's
like,
true.
You're not gonna explode. No. We made it safe. Somebody was licking dynamite or something and was like, hey man, my heart feels better.
You're like, man, this sweat on this dynamite's delicious.
Yeah. Stuff like that. But yeah, definitely somebody maybe caught just a little bit of botulism and noticed like, hey man, why is your face like something weird like that?
Yeah, I love that. It's like kids at school. I dare you to stab yourself with this botulism.
Yeah, lick this can.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, well, actually, what's funny is like you're not too far off from like the shit we did back in school. like you'd be sitting there like at lunch or something, and somebody get a tray with like a dried chunk of like old food that didn't get washed off through like 3 cycles, and be like, dude, I'll give you my chocolate milk if you eat that. And I'd be like,
there you go.
Crazy.
Done. Hey, I can't feel my face.
Little did I know I was training my immune system the whole time for adolescence.
PPG Gaming, save your money for freaking Magic the Gathering cards. You need the help.
Oh no, he's got a good message
for Magic Gathering.
No. He's got a good message though. Thank you for the $5, by the way. He said, "Is our actor friend?" That's David, obviously, because me and Aux, we're not actors.
I was going to say Aux.
No. He's not an actor. He just plays one on the internet. Would David be open to doing nude seeds in future work, follow up, and timestamps? So, David, would you be willing to go full twigs and berries for the craft?
I feel like there's 2 types of people in the world. There's people who look good naked, and there's people who look funny naked. And I've always looked funny naked. So,
but depending on the show, that could work. Like depending on the movie,
in a strange way, I don't care because I don't know what the deal is, but there's like at some point in my life there was like a detachment between myself and what I see on camera. But it's weird because you sort of find yourself doing things and then going like, oh God, that's actually. I guess that's going to be shared with everybody now. So I've done some nude scenes before. Sex scenes are the most awkward because you got to because it's so horrible. It's weirdly technical, right? Like you're like,
I feel like we need some descriptions here, sir. You need to walk us through. This is purely the craft, but walk us through the craft of what is the technology behind a sex scene that you've been in?
Sex scenes are, I'm sure it depends on other films. Like some films with a real budget, I'm sure they can do it properly. The ones that any of the ones that I've had to do has always been sort of like low budget. It's just like, okay, hop in,
duct tape it to your leg. Let's get going.
They have the sock. They have this like special sock.
We need to know about the sock, David. I did not know about the sock.
Well, the sock just basically goes over your bathing suit area, and is just a flesh colored sock basically. So you don't see anything. You've got like something, but it's that weird thing of like, okay, so think of it this way.
I always wondered how they did that. Okay.
If you're doing a sex scene with someone, I feel like you have to apologize right away because you go like, look, I apologize if it works. And I also apologize if it doesn't, because it is so weirdly technical, right?
Huh.
I hear all these
I'm
stories
a grower,
about people
not a
like,
shower.
it's
I imagine it's like stripping down for the doc, right? Like you're there for you're slightly
how could you get
detached.
aroused?
You're not
like with all those people
right?
just like
There's all
looking
the
at you and
stuff
stuff. That drive me nuts.
I mean, I can see where you could too, though.
That's it, because you just don't know, right? You're sort of like, I mean, I don't know. I had I've done a couple of sort of, some of them more intense than others. The one that I remember the most was
David's like, why did I come on today? Why?
Yeah, no, it's out there anyways, right? It was
I'm
a friend of mine.
looking for it later.
It's a friend of mine that we had like a man-on-man kiss, and then we're supposed to sort of you come back later and you're lying in bed together and we're both naked, and at one point in the scene he's supposed to just slap me on the ass. And I remember joking at the time when we did it. I was like, Jesus, I felt like my ass was never going to stop moving. Like, it was like, and so we're at the screening. We're at the screening, and my friend's sitting like maybe 2 or 3 people away, and it's an art film, like it's a full-on artsy Canadian, film festival piece, and gets to the scene, and he slaps my ass, and there is this audible groan of disgust from like this side of the room, and it's my friend who's just like, who literally couldn't stop himself and went, oh. And of course, which elicited either giggles or shocked, artistic, outrage and anger that someone should be offended by this. But all I remember is I was like, again, I just felt like, wow, they should cut, because that's just never going to stop moving. That cheek is just going to wobble like a Jello on a mole.
That'd be so awkward.
I'll never forget it.
You know what the worst part about that situation is too? Is like when they yell like reset again. You're like, oh no.
All right, one more time.
Yeah.
So David, what I want you to do this time is I want you to clench your butt cheeks just a little bit harder, okay? Everything else the same.
Well, I think everyone I've ever worked with has been so incredibly, I think in a way the directors have been, and producers and stuff have been more nervous about it than the actors. Because like to some extent, like, actors get around, so to speak.
So I've heard.
And we've been on set so many times, and we've either been, usually you've got, you've had sort of certain amount of experience on set with this stuff anyways, but there's just something about like trying to like, make love with a partner while there's like, there's a grip standing there scratching his armpit, and someone else is like, and the camera guy's going like, nah, and that there's just so many things going on that it's amazing to me when there ever seems like any chemistry at all.
The microphone's like bouncing off your butt. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
The boom. Do it again.
It was the boom. I swear to God, it was the boom. Yeah.
See, that would be the thing that I couldn't stand about like acting in a set like that. It's like I already have a problem where I do retakes by myself, like if I fuck shit up over and over again.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine doing that in a situation where there's like, thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment and paid people are there and everything. And it's like you screw up a scene that's like 5 minutes long and you have to redo it like 45 times to get it right. Like, I'd imagine that would just like eat at you, but you have to get through it, right? I mean, that's why you get paid the big bucks. It's like no matter what, you have to have it in the can, right?
I've had days there were days on Stargate where I was like, God, one more time. They're like, no, it's fine, we can cut it together. I was like, well, I will get through this whole thing. Like where you're like, no, damn it, I learned the whole lines. It's a big speech. You are not cutting away from me.
I was wondering about that. So like so the actor can also like, will the director be like sympathetic to the actor wanting to do it again, or do they usually say knock it off?
You're kind of screwed when it comes to TV stuff, because the TV actors, if you got the lead actors are in every single week, right? So these poor directors come in and go like, okay, so your character starts over there. You're like, yeah, no, I'm going to start over there. And it's like, well, why? Because that's where my room is. It's like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. So these poor directors trying to direct in some cases, they just don't know as much about the character or even the show for that matter as we do, because we've been there since day one, right?
Yeah.
So
it's got to be a weird power struggle. Like, Like, because you guys have different writers on different episodes too, right?
And different writers. Yeah.
God, what a pain in the ass.
Stuff like that. But the best directors are the ones who either just ignore the actors and just say like, oh, just shut up and say the lines like I want you to over there. And you're like, okay, sorry. Because most also back down. Most also back down anyways. But yeah, it's just you sort of like, just focus on the shot. We'll worry about what the acting does. You worry about where the camera's going to be, and so.
That's wild. Well, we just got a unique view into the world of how cinema works, and we learned about the cocksock apparently.
Yeah, cocksock. That's what they call it. Yeah, the cocksock. Yeah,
that's new.
Oh my God, that is funny. I honestly didn't know. I figured they just taped shit down. Like I thought they just went Buffalo Bill or something.
But if your tape is, I don't know if you've tried that or not, but tape is quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, imagine.
I guess a sock would be more. I mean, I don't know. Is it like a velour sock or is it like one of those cheap ones from Costco with the scratchy material?
It's kind of that weird sort of like dance, like that dance.
Oh, like
fabric.
spandex.
Yeah, it's like a spandexy thing, and it doesn't. It's not like it really. There's not an awful lot of modesty to it. What do they call it? A modesty. Someone called it. That's it. It's a modesty something or another. A modesty piece or something. I don't know.
It's a cod piece, right? I mean, it's
basically a cod piece. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, banana hammock.
I mean, banana hammock. Yeah. Like, how do they even do you know about it? Like before you even start your job? Like, I'm sorry, I'm infatuated by.
I didn't know about
clearly
that.
See. But like, do you accept the job and then like halfway through shooting, all of a sudden is it like Game of Thrones and that one lady where it's like they're like, okay, you got the job, and then 3 episodes in, they're like, you're just gonna be naked for the rest of the series.
They have to say
Amelia Clark or whatever.
When you sign the contract, they'll say whether there's nudity involved or not.
Okay, and that's like that's
I keep forgetting to look. But nowadays it doesn't happen a lot. Now it's like, oh, please God, just more clothes.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Yeah, no one's. That's like they want people to come back and watch the show again.
We put it on the contract that you're not allowed to be naked.
I love that this topic came up just after the retching one.
I know we literally were talking about like vomiting and sympathetic vomiting, and immediately went to David naked doing a sex scene.
Well, that's because Gimpy Gaming gave us $5 to talk about it. So.
That's where then Gimpy went there. Thanks,
Gimpy. We should blame Gimpy for that entire little side journey, because that was not on my mind at all until he mentioned it, and now I can't think about anything else. Thank you, Gimpy.
Yeah, I'll try to find. Yeah, everyone can go try to find images now. I'm sure. So
yeah, David, just so you know, full disclosure, I will be going and finding all of these later. I have to, because
luckily they're all a much younger David.
Hey,
much younger David. Yeah.
Oh, good. That means they're probably shot on film, which means that you can increase the resolution without losing any quality. Perfect.
Well, no, they get fuzzy. I think they get fuzzy, though, don't they?
It depends on the glass. Like, did you see the the remaster of Star Trek: The Next Generation?
No,
dude, it looks sharper today than even brand new shows that have just come out, because it was all shot on film, and when they digitized it, they took it up to 4K resolution, and it looks like flawless.
Plus, and a little AI, maybe.
Yeah, they have some really, really good AI upscaling now.
Is that what they use for it?
I don't know about the Star Trek thing, but take a look. There's a 4K upscale of
that old train station.
Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up.
God, really? We need that in 4K.
It's super weird. It's strange, because that this was filmed in the 80s. You know what it's supposed to look like because you've seen it a million times. And so to see it in like super crisp 4K is a little jarring. It's so smooth. It's almost like that weird like soap opera unrealness, which blows my mind. I don't know how they get that look on soap operas, but like
there's also that black and white train thing that they did. That they took like old 1911 footage or something, and then that was also really weird, because you just suddenly go like, oh right, they weren't all black and white and move funny. Like they just all of a sudden it has actually one of the most poignant things I ever saw was a woman who she was hired by by Auschwitz to go and colorize all of the photos of the victims at the concentration camps. And seeing them in color, and I'm not normally a colorization fan, but seeing these little kids and have it where they've got the right pallor and the right lips and stuff, it's so much more powerful, because all of a sudden they're not historical. They're little kids, and they're people, and they're that you see them as humans in a way that I was always overwhelmed by the sheer numbers in the history classes when they talked about it.
Yeah.
But to see these people as people had such a a different impact on me. And so she used to do colorization of stuff, just historical things throughout history. And then she'd done this one little girl from I believe it was Auschwitz, and it had such an impact on people that she was hired by the organization to go through and do everybody.
Wow.
Which I just thought was fantastic, and also just a miserable job too, if you think about it. But
technology's getting pretty wild. Like, you guys seen that Wombo AI that everybody's?
I love that thing.
Oh yeah, what is the deal on that?
So it's cool, but just from looking at the clips and stuff, I totally see how they did it. I know how or I have a good feeling of how they've done it. It's obviously processed in the cloud, but they have essentially an invisible head, and they're doing face recognition for eyeballs and mouth, which is an open AI thing. Like, it's built into Snapchat, it's built into all kinds of stuff. Like, I think Google has a open machine learning packet or Docker container or something you can use to identify a face. It's really, really easy to say this is 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth.
Yeah.
And they're essentially taking whatever image that you're uploading, finding where they're guessing where your face is, and then wrapping that onto this invisible head that's articulated. And
yeah, it's not perfect. I mean, you can definitely see that there's a little, but give it a year, 2 years.
Oh, not even if they gave it more processing time, and with the right there's algorithms and stuff where
it's true. This is on your freaking phone.
You can turn that stuff around right now with the right app. There's like face swap apps that'll do a rough what is it?
Face
The
swap?
fucking deep fake, right? It's like a rough deep fake. That's pretty dang good, even for cloud processing for free, essentially on your phone. It's remarkable stuff. I see streamers do it all the time for little, like, going live clips and stuff. They've deep faked themselves onto a clip from a video or something, and it's done on their phone.
Well, did you see the video of the guy? I think it was like an elderly guy that had dementia, and they took a picture of, like, or maybe he didn't have dementia, but they took a picture of his wife that died when she was young, and they put it through this algorithm where, she actually turned and she smiled, and he looked at her and he's like, oh my God, she's alive, and he just breaks down and just starts crying. And it was his son that presented it to him. But I mean, it was clear that he still knew that she was gone, but it was like he hadn't seen her face since she died like 40 years ago, and except for this photo that he had. And then when they brought the photo to life, it's kind of like, when you watch Harry Potter and you see the artwork in the background and like everybody's moving around, but there's no audio. Yeah. It was like that same kind of experience, and they brought it to life, and it just, like, I mean, he broke down. Like me, it's like I part of me wants to go take like my mom's pictures and go put them through there, just because I don't have very many pictures of her, and it'd just be cool to see her come back like in some kind of animation. But at the same time, I don't do it because I'm like, man, I'm thinking that might put me into like PTSD realm. Like, it's like I already dealt with that. I already, I accepted it. I'm in a good place.
I was going to say that dealing with death would be, in a strange way, more difficult with that kind of a thing around.
Yeah, it's like the whole the VR thing that was going on a while ago. There was a company that was 3D modeling people's children. Do you remember that? Like, that they lost in horrible accidents, and they were letting the parents go into VR and interact with their dead children.
No, but that was a therapy thing, though, wasn't it?
It was a therapy thing. Yeah. But it was like, I was thinking to myself, and I'm like, that doesn't twisted. Yeah, it doesn't really give you closure. I mean, I'm sure there's situations, like a therapist could probably figure out a situation where that might actually be helpful. Like if you're having like, constant nightmares or something like that, and you can't get them out of your vision, and you need some kind of visual reference that tells you that it's okay to let go. Then maybe that's helpful. But I could see a lot of situations where that could actually be like worse. Like by seeing
Black Mirror about that? Wasn't there a Black Mirror where you could get a robotic
Black Mirror about everything?
About everything. It's true. I thought there was I thought there was one specifically about something like that.
There might have been. That sounds familiar. But it just something about that just seems a little bit too freaky. Like the whole holodeck thing on Star Trek, it feels like we're headed in that direction between like VR and deep fakes and everything. We're doing everything we can to try to eventually just walk into a room and say, computer, show me, have a barbecue with all my dead relatives. And it goes and gathers their personality from social networks and figures out like what their conditioned responses would be based on people's perceptions of them in public. And then you basically get like believable characters. And they know your birthday. They know your likes and dislikes from all your social media inputs and everything. So like if you lived during a time where all that data was collected, it's like you're immortalized.
Yeah.
And I could totally see
it would
that
be
happening.
neat, like to have your mom, like my mom, every single time it's my birthday, she always calls and says, "You were born in a thunderstorm." It'd be kind of nice, even just going ahead to say like, to, you know, like have her show up. I mean, she's still around. But it would be easier to talk to a VR thing.
But you know what you should do?
When she's gone, it could be kind of neat.
If I could go back in time while my mom was still alive, I would have had her record like a soundboard of like a million generic things. That just conversations and stuff that we had and everything. Because my son never got to meet her. She died, unfortunately, while we were pregnant with my son. And I was like, it would have been cool to have that soundboard, because then I could have like I could have composited together like sentences and things that she would have said. And I could have played those for my son so that he could have, like, you know, heard her voice and had her even address him. And I feel bad, you know, it's not something you think about in the time, right? During tragedy, you don't think about anything like this. But it's
this wasn't even around, was it? Like even 5 years ago, it was sort of not. It wasn't something that was accessible. Although that is an interesting point, though. It's a bit like, you know, freezing your eggs or your sperm or something. You've got like, if there's a way of like somehow of capturing enough, as you say, a soundboard of information and looks and such that you could be recreated later, that would be kind of neat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they already have the technology to simulate people's voices just by them reading. Like, you just read like a couple paragraphs of text and it can figure out how to say every single word with every inflection like you would. And I mean, I remember Microsoft was playing with that technology back when I was working there. You know, we'd go to the Tech Fest and you'd walk up the thing and be like, you know, type in text and it would read it as Bill Gates, and it sounded exactly like Bill Gates, like flawlessly, with no gaps between the words, no jumps and inflections. It was awesome.
They did that with I think it was Toy Story 3, because like Don Rickles had died, couldn't do the voice of Potato Head, I think.
Was he Potato Head? Yeah.
But they went back through like everything he'd ever recorded and whatnot, and lines from the first couple movies, and they were able to cut together his lines for the movie, and nobody noticed, right? And now,
I had no idea.
It's even easier nowadays. Like Jerry was saying, they can do voice stuff super easy these days.
Yeah, the voice stuff seems much easier. And I almost wonder, like, why do you even bother with getting the actors at this point? You could just have a bank of different voices that you can change and manipulate as you see fit.
They're running into issues with that, with who owns your likeness after you die. Like there was some hubbub about Princess Leia and her face being used potentially without permission necessarily, and things like that.
That's creepy.
And it's a thing. Like if you
remember when Marilyn Monroe and Charlie Chaplin and stuff were in some kind of like perfume ad or something, and everyone was like, "That's wrong. You shouldn't do that." And that was just literally just using clips that they'd somehow managed to sort of loop together.
Yeah, it's neat.
But I would totally
neat. On the other, it's kind of weird and creepy.
The thing is, though, is you run into gray areas. Like, what happens if somebody just sounds or looks like another person? Like, you know, impersonators. Like, there's Elvis impersonators. Like, at what point do they get sued for impersonating Elvis when they were literally born, legally changed their name to Elvis, and they look just like him and sound just like him?
Yeah.
Like, can you take their identity away because another identity exists when there's a finite number of voices? And
or Morgan Freeman. Every second voice I hear is someone doing a Morgan Freeman voice. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a guy on Fiverr, dude. You can pay $5 to get like 3 sentences read by Morgan Freeman.
And is it actually Morgan Freeman?
No. It just sounds exactly like him. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like, because I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos lately, and they'll just cut to these little things where it's like, you know, oh, and in today's world,
Morgan
you know,
Freeman.
It's totally him.
Yeah.
And so, and what they do is they usually credit him in the video description, like, oh, I got this from so and so on Fiverr, you know, because they got some deal going with them. And I was like, there's tons of voice actors on there. You go to Fiverr, you just do search for voice actors. You can find people that will say anything as anybody.
On the hologram thing I did, they had a Morgan Freeman sound alike that was absolutely perfect.
Right?
You'd never know the difference.
Yeah, and they can do them all. Like I've heard impressions. I've seen one guy. There's a guy was the man of 1,000 voices or whatever. There's a guy on YouTube who can do. Not all of them are perfect. There's some that you can tell, but if you closed your eyes and listen to him, 60% of the voices he do are like completely spot on. You could not tell.
Context makes a big difference too, because like you can trick yourself. Like you went into this knowing like this is going to be fake, and so you're kind of listening more for the mistakes than you. But if it just popped up in a commercial or something, you'd just be like, it sounds like him. Sure.
I'm doing the networking course, networking fundamentals on the IT Pro TV site.
Okay.
You know those guys. It's just kind of an interesting approach to it. I'm not sure if I'm convinced yet, but it's like kind of a tech talk not this Tech Talk, but like Tech Talk, like Twit TV type approach to it. And it's just very conversational and stuff. But their logo at the end of it says, "This was ITV." I mean, it has this whole. So that was the worst Morgan Freeman ever. But it sounds like Morgan Freeman did the text for them, did the little tagline for them as well. I figured I'd do networking because when I started doing computer stuff, it was all about the processor, right? It was all about the CPU and all that kind of stuff. Whereas now I feel like if you have an understanding of networking, that's almost more important at this point.
That's super smart. Yeah. The hardware side of things is becoming very, very commoditized.
Yeah.
It's Legos. Anybody with an hour or so can put together the hardware enough to get you going. You know, there's compatibility and software and stuff like that comes into play, but the actual building of it is child's play, literally, like easy peasy. It's all, a lot of computer stuff is going to be the software, however you do it.
It's surprising to me how, I mean, like, I'm sure it's more secure than it sounds when I listen to them talking about it, but there just seems to be so many opportunities for to get in there. Like so many different things along the way to make things different than what they were supposed to be when they left. You know?
Yeah.
If you're connected to the internet, you are vulnerable. There is no amount of security that you can apply that can't be overcome. Like going through each of the tiers, right? But once you get to social engineering, if somebody is tenacious enough and willing to take enough risk and enough time, they will break through that wall. Like there's
I would argue that that's the bigger problem in a way. I would say, why bother with all the freaking technical stuff when you can just call or email someone and ask them for the information?
It's the same as your house. It is the exact same.
What the hell are you doing in my house?
I'm just saying, anybody by having your door on the road, right, is the same as having your computer attached to the internet. No matter what level of security you have, no matter how many cameras and alarms and locks and
someone wants to get
gates
in
and stuff, they're going to get in eventually.
Yeah,
if a guy pulls up in front of my house and it says Amazon on the van, or has a magnetic USPS sticker on the side of his fucking van.
Hug him. I run and hug them.
I'll open the door for that guy. He may not even have a box with my name on it. I don't know. Boom. Now he's socking me in the face and he's in my house. Like that's the social engineering, right? If you can convince someone that you are supposed to, a clipboard and a high vis vest will get you in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Like
that's like a hacker thing. Apparently that's a hacker thing. That's the pen thing.
Yeah. No, I watched, there's a guy on YouTube. They literally have a business, like the YouTube is the secondary thing, but their primary business is companies pay them to test their security. And what they'll do is they'll have them come at like 12 o'clock at night to their physical buildings and see how deep that they can get in. And then if they get caught by security, they get handled just like a real intruder because security doesn't get told about them ahead of time. So they'll literally like go quietly. They'll let them handcuff them and everything and like go along. And then like half an hour later, they let them out of the cop car. But yeah, they try to get as deep as they can into these buildings. And geez, I watched one episode where it took them like 15 minutes and they convinced a guard to literally just open a secure door. And we're talking real secure door, like card key, and it had the cover plate so that you couldn't get a manipulation device into the mechanism. Because they couldn't bypass it. They're like, okay, this is actually a really good security metric. So we're stopped right here. So then they went social engineering. They talked this guard up and like have a smoke with him and talk with him for a little while. And they're like, okay, I got to get back inside. Oh, damn, I left my card key on the desk and I opened the door. Hey, could you just let me in? He's like, here, you can follow me to my office, dude. Like, I understand security. They basically gave him all the confidence in the world. Like, don't worry, I'll show you. Like, here, I know exactly what office number I'm going to, because obviously it's easy to fill that out because all the plans are public to these buildings. So they know where all the offices are. So when you tell the guard, oh yeah, I'm on the second floor right across from the kitchen area in room 235, like you're familiar, right? And the guard's like, oh, well, he knows the interior of the building, so he must be okay. And they let him in.
Bunch of names on a board to say what office number they're in. Oh yeah, I work with Jim Jenkins in office 220. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, he was able to work his way. Oh, go ahead.
Did you guys listen to the dark web diaries or darknet diaries? Oh my God, you'd love it. You'd love it. It's a podcast. In fact, everyone should go and check that out because they'd love it. It's this guy does it himself, so make sure you throw some money at him on Patreon or whatever. But I think it's called the Dark Web Diaries, Darknet Diaries, one of the two. It's a story. He's got a million of them. All these stories about how people broke in, about different systems and stuff. Darknet Diaries, is that it?
By Jack Rhysider.
That's it. Yeah. So I I listened to like a few of these, then I was like, oh my God, I want this guy to, I'm worried about running out of them because I'm enjoying them so much. But he's got things about like guys who get hired to break into banks. And then he's got stories about people who get like hired to break into banks, and they go in, they break into the bank, and they suddenly realize they're in the wrong bank, that it's the bank next door.
No,
like that kind of, like that kind of
funny
stuff.
I knew a guy who did software pen testing back in the 90s, and or it's for the networking side of things. Like that's what he was, a white hat hacker. Like he'd break into banks, digital security systems and stuff and whatnot. And he was didn't know it at the time until after the fact, but he was actually hired by the company for the game that we were playing. And he fucked over the entire economy because he broke their system. And I've told this story before. My dad was buddies with him because I was a kid, but he gave me and a bunch of his other buddies like millions and millions of these tokens because he knew that a server wipe was coming because he had broke their system. And so I went and bought a bunch of rare items from people because I was just filthy rich with what was about to become useless money. But these rare items weren't getting wiped. They were talking like holiday special items and things like that. So I bought up all these crazy stuff, all the super rare items and stuff, because I knew the economy was about to get wiped out.
Right.
That's smart. It was filthy. Well, in a virtual sense, at least it was fun.
Ooh, I'm gonna get
that kind of stuff is really cool.
Here,
the other one. So I've always been kind of obsessed with this stuff, but so there's a couple things this week that I did with that. One of them is obviously I've just been telling everyone about Dark Network Diaries because I love it. But the other one was this company called Pentester Labs, and it's this guy Luis, this Frenchman out in Australia who runs this company, and they're like these little tiny little bite-size pen tester courses, and you take like lessons, and each one's like maybe 2 minutes, and then you go in, and he has a little virtual machine that you go in and then do that penetration test on. Mm-hmm. And it just goes through. He's got thousands of these things. And I'm trying to get the kids to do it because the kids keep talking about, the kids are beginning to come around to the idea, my Tech Bandits kids are beginning to come around to the idea that hacking doesn't have to be evil.
Sure.
And but for some reason, I guess because of the news, their immediate assumption is, oh, no, hacking's bad. We don't do that. I'm like, well, you should be, because it's like, it's not. Yeah. And so Pentester Labs is another one to check out because I love it. It's like, it's just all like, it's like Unix stuff. Most people here will probably all know all the stuff anyways. But for me, it was great. Like, just I didn't realize that I was doing things. I didn't realize that I'd had that mentality from the beginning anyways. The things like, oh, that's it. That's a page. Let's say it's called info1.html. You go, oh, I wonder what info2.html is, or that kind of stuff. Like how you could sort of start to figure out about the system that you're looking at. A lot of web-based stuff he does. And he's just, and they're all with his French accent, and he talks you through, welcome to Pentester Labs. And this is, it's just, and he loves it. Like, that's what I like about it, is he loves it. And that makes a big, big difference. And it's just, again, it's just this one guy. This is what I'm obsessed with, these like one man, like creative lawyer forces. Yeah. Oh my God. He's fantastic. Love that shit. Oh yeah.
That's my kind of content.
Oh my God.
That's so cool.
You know, they have whole lock picking conventions. Actually, it's funny because Luis, actually, the Pentester Labs guy, was also, he said if you wanted to get the kids into hacking, start with locks.
Yeah.
Lock picking. So
I dig it.
I love lock picking. I actually did it for a while, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know why I stopped. I think I just ran out of locks that I could pick.
I used to do it all the time before there was information on it. Like there was, and I sucked at it. But now it's like it's almost like, well, you buy the kit, you can pick a lock. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's almost that easy.
Well, the other thing is, like, one of my favorite channels on YouTube, and I'm sure you guys are well aware of this guy too, Lock Picking Lawyer. Have you ever watched this stuff?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, love
God, I love watching it, because the cool thing is, like, picking is like the last thing he does. Like he'll show you how to pick it, but he usually finds better exploits that are way faster. Like, I couldn't believe that like 90% of the padlocks on the market can be defeated with a soda pop can.
Oh yeah, the little hook. Yeah, the little shim thing, you stick it down.
Oh my God.
Really? You with a pocket knife, you just cut a little chunk out of like a Pepsi can. You fold it around the shackle on the top, and the metal's thin enough that you can basically just push it down. You leave two wings on it when you cut it, so you can put force down on it, and you just jam it down into the hole, and it basically pushes the bearing out of the way that's holding the shackle, and you pull the shackle out. And what they do to combat this is some of the better locks will put one on both sides, but then you just create two shims and push them down at the same time, and then pull the shackle out.
It's like the card, right? If it's not a deadbolt, you can force the tongue on the door handle with a stiff enough card. You get it back behind because it's got a slant to it, right? And if you can get the card on that side and jam it, it'll pop right open.
I love that. So that's hacking. That really is hacking.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's just physical hacking. Yeah.
Well, actually, I got into my office at Microsoft doing just that exact same thing. And because it was so easy to get in, they gave me a deadbolt because I had, confidential stuff in the room. And you have to have a locked room when you're not there. If you have anything that's considered a software development vehicle that's there under NDA from like Intel or AMD.
Yeah, because they want the Russians to get it all through the network.
Exactly.
Not through the doors.
Well, they just don't want you to see that they're already like 3 chips ahead of what you can buy. And
right.
We're already developing for it, and it's like they're acting like the new shiny thing coming out tomorrow is the best thing, and it's like, no, I had like a 32 core processor like 3 years before they were available to the public, like in an engineering sample. And it was like you opened it up and there's like speaker wires all over the motherboard. They call them bodge wires or whatever, but it's like the whole thing was bodged up, like put together, and had crazy firmwares on it. But I had to lock my office up. One day I came in and I forgot my keys at home, and it's a non-duplicatable key too. They actually like make a special key that's really hard to have the right equipment to duplicate it, and it says all over the key, do not duplicate, federal penalty, blah blah blah. I mean, they're really serious about not duplicating the key. But I'm like, how the hell do I get into my office? So I literally pulled out my card key. And I ended up breaking the card key, so I had to go get another one. But my Microsoft card key was a thick plastic card. But it had the RFD chip. I broke the chip in it, but I shoved it into the door, and I basically just wiggled it back and forth and jammed it as hard as I could at an angle until it went around the little 45, and then I just racked it up and down, and it was just going clunk, 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 and just pulling on the door handle, and it finally popped open, and I opened up the door and got in there. And then another time,
we used to do that at school all the time. If you forget your books in a room and they close the classroom, we would just like jimmy it all the time.
The other thing too is it's all false security, because most buildings, office buildings, have false ceilings. So another thing that we did is we just pushed somebody up over the top. Like we just popped the panel off and just shoved them up over, and they just, did a somersault over the door, fell into the room, and then just opened the door. And the only room you couldn't do that for was like, they were smart enough in the computer lab, the main computer lab. They actually put in sheet metal ducting above it. So like when you push the panel out, the whole room had a fence of sheet metal ducting around it. They claimed it was for the HVAC system to keep the air from just spilling out over the rest of the building, because that room had a lot of cold air going into it. But that, like, you'd have to have like shears or something like that to cut the sheet metal if you wanted to like.
But even then, if you wanted to get in, you could get in. It's
right. Like it'd be easier to go through that little bit of sheet metal than it would be trying to go through the wall where there's like a metal stud every 6 inches. So, I mean, there's always a way.
The other thing that came up with Luis was he said that he was going to send it to me. There's like an Instructable or something on how to do. Is it? I think it was. I don't know if it was an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi safe cracker using sensors to listen to the safe and stuff. And you can actually build your own. That is freaking cool.
Yeah, it's just a stepper motor that just goes through every combination and listens for that click. And when it hears the click, then it just stops right there. So you can test it.
Oh man, I freaking love the future.
Yeah, they actually still use them. As a matter of fact, Lockpicking Lawyer did an episode where he borrowed a guy's $5,000 safe cracker.
Oh, I saw that one. I saw that. Yeah,
he sits there and goes. I mean, it's moving so fast, you don't know how the hell it wouldn't just like fly by the code, but it does it. It works.
The weird thing I find now is that because of all these podcasts and because of all this, my general obsession with this stuff is sort of like, for some reason I'm more excited about it again now, I guess, because there's been so many breaches of late and stuff. But I find everywhere I go, okay, well, I'll be able to get in there. Oh, look, that Wi-Fi network's open. Oh my God, they've got plug and play on. They've got, it's just all this stuff you find yourself doing like while you're sitting on set. And I remember being on set a million years ago in California in Warner Brothers Studios. And I had a computer. It was sort of before Wi-Fi was like a thing. Like it wasn't something that it was something that some people used if they had a lot of money, but it wasn't sort of a known thing. And no, it wasn't Wi-Fi. That's right. It wasn't Wi-Fi. They were built-in little cubicles that they had for the cast. And so your day players would come in, but they all had network ports. So they all had Ethernet connectors. And of course, being the nerd that I was, I had not only a computer, but an Ethernet cable.
You're like, I got to plug into that shit.
And I plugged into it. Yeah. And immediately got off because I was like, oh shit, because it opened up. It had all of the productions, all of the names of people's computers, the computers themselves. There was no security at all on it. I'm sure
honestly, if it wasn't for
now.
hackers, we'd have no security. Everybody'd just be on their honor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like every single security method that we have today is a result or a countermeasure to somebody breaching it. Like I think I told you guys when I first moved here to Redmond in 2000, Redmond, Washington, and like right around 2000. My apartment complex had high-speed internet. There was this wireless high-speed internet through a microwave antenna. And instead of using switches, they used hubs because hubs were cheaper than switches. Like back then, switches were super expensive. So these were 10-base hubs. And so if you just plugged into the wall and you just open network neighborhood in Windows XP, you open network neighborhood,
get everybody.
You'd see like 250 computers and you'd click on them. And back then, Windows XP they made the assumption that if you were on a wired network, right, back then, that you didn't need security. You could just open up the file shares by default because nobody would ever have that level of access outside of their house because everybody used modems back then. Yeah. So it was weird. I could click on this thing. I could see everybody's printers. I was printing stuff out of their printers saying, if you can see this, it's because, I've hacked your computer and you need to go, because I was trying to get them to go and tell the internet guys basically to put in switches. So I printed out instructions on a piece of paper that basically said, please go post this on the whiteboard. And the next day there was like 20 of these things posted on the community whiteboard because I wanted to get their attention. And they weren't listening to me. Like I told them, I was like, guys, this is a huge security issue. I can open up people's folders. I can just literally go to their computer name /$C$, which is the hidden drive share. So, now it's closed up pretty good now with Samba and what is it? NFS. but back then you could just literally type the name of the computer /$C$, and that's the share. It doesn't show up when you ping it, but if you type it in, it'll open it. And I could literally just go to everybody's root drives and go rifle around their computers. And I was like, oh my God, dude, this is crazy. So I freaked out because of course my stuff was accessible.
Because you don't want your stuff. That's it. Yep. That's what I freak out about. I'm like, dude, everything's accessible.
Yeah. So I ended up going and putting a switch in my house. I went and paid the money to put a switch in so that all my computers had to go through a switch, not a hub. And then I could go into it. And I don't think it was a managed switch though.
Because a hub's just broadcasting to everybody. It's almost like just extending the cable, isn't it?
That is exactly it. It just expands your subnet.
Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't a switch, it was a firewall.
Smart.
Yeah, so I bought a little firewall that was like $100 or whatever at Fry's Electronics. And I plugged it in and I basically just said, don't let any inbound local area network traffic hit my machines. And that solved the problem for me, but still, like everybody else in the complex had this problem. And I couldn't believe I was like the first person. I'm literally like 2 blocks from the Microsoft campus, and like all Microsoft developers live in this complex. And I'm the only guy that's figured out that I can access like everybody's printers. Maybe I'm the only guy unethical enough to print something on them or to show my hand. But they did end up fixing the problem. It took them about a good month, but they did send out a general notification saying that all the hubs were replaced with switches. They also increased performance a lot too. Like the network was really dog slow during certain times of the day, and putting in the switches seemed to solve it. But people will always find a way to work around. Like, and this is another thing that I really hate about security. And again, this is what the DEF CON guys like to do. It's like, what do they call white box testing, right? It's like get knowledge of the system and figure out how to circumvent it. The thing is you only have the power to secure a system within the realms of what you can touch, right? So if you own the software, you can change the software. But if you're licensing the software and it's a closed source platform, then you're at the mercy of whatever problems it has, right? Same thing with your system, right? The people that you hire, how you train them to be resilient to social engineering, that's going to be another soft spot in your system. But then there's other areas where it's like you don't even think about the attack because it's so far outside the realm of what you even think is possible or what somebody would do that it's successful. Like the one that still works today is Starbucks. If you ever go to a Starbucks and you see more than one Wi-Fi network that says Starbucks, like leave. Just get the fuck out because somebody figured out that like the really easy way to do it is go into Starbucks, erect a Wi-Fi, give it the same name, put it on a different channel, and half the people that come into that restaurant, if they've never connected to the one that's there to auto connect by SSID, they'll just connect to yours. 50% chance that they're going to connect to yours. And I did
it from my house because we're within range of some of these coffee shops, and I thought I'll just try it, see what happens. I had like 3 logons in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then all you do is a pass through. You basically you start up a network monitor like Microsoft Netmon to do the traffic, the packet sniffing, and then you basically just connect and do network address translation through to the actual Starbucks network. That way, everything that they're doing on the network, you're basically a man in the middle. Like you're just a relay.
I just wanted to see if anyone would be stupid enough to log in, and they did.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah. Now back then, a lot of stuff like it. Now you'd probably be you'd still be somewhat safe because everything's going to be HTTPS encrypted. And let's be honest, like every modern protocol now has some level of encryption, so you're probably not going to be too exposed if you fell for something like that now. But no, back like 5-10 years, probably like more like 10 years ago. Yeah, no, everything was HTTP because nobody wanted to incur the penalty of HTTPS, right? It was expensive.
Well, and all the mom and pop shops, where you could log into their network and then log into their modem because they've just shared their modem password with everyone in the coffee shop. Well, no, the other place
address and just
the other way that's really bad is the film industry, because the film industry now, all of the actors want Wi-Fi. So, and all the crew wants Wi-Fi. In fact, they're using a lot of the Wi-Fi stuff now, even just for like broadcasting. Like you can actually pick up what's happening in the camera on your iPhone or on your iPad, so you can see what's going on. So makeup can be looking for makeup or hair or whatever. And but the problem, of course, is you've got to share a network with a large amount of people, like 150, 200 people at a time, different people coming in every day. And so the best guy at this was Del Toro. Guillermo del Toro had his own network. It was just his. And man, when he logged in, he was like all hunched up and he'd cover up all of his keys and he'd log in and then he'd go back out again. He was never connected for long. He never, he's just so smart about it. I guess because he's a nerd or someone warned him. And I guess he's also got valuable stuff. But I just thought that was amazing that he's the only guy I've ever seen who's got any sense of the security angle on that stuff.
Yeah, most people just trust it, right? That's the weird thing is like you just trust something you don't understand because from your perspective it's simple, because the human brain is like, if it's simple to use, then it must be secure. It must be easy to trust, right? If a car is easy to drive, it's safer than the car that isn't easier to drive, right? It's like you don't really think beyond that. It's like as long as it feels safe to you and it feels like it's a fluid experience and everything that you're doing makes sense, you don't question a lot of things, and you end up opening yourself up for all kinds of security attacks. And the thing is, there is no way you can be 100% secure. Like go ask Anonymous, man. Every single person that stepped to Anonymous and be like, oh yeah, you don't scare me, blah, blah, blah. Oh man, to get their asses handed to them. And it's because
why would you do? I don't know why you would bait them anyway. I got to say, I'm a huge. That's another organization that I just think is so freaking cool. Like, you know what I mean?
You definitely can't stop them though, because it's like, they're an ever-growing. I mean, it's basically just unlimited numbers of people that are literally anonymous. And it doesn't matter how many of them you take down. There's always going to be more people to do it. And they'll go to lengths that nobody else will. I mean, they're the type of people that, I mean, if they want it bad enough, they'll go and like clone your SIM and walk in and socially engineer AT&T, like whatever it takes. Like what was the lead promoter for the MMA? Dana White. So Dana White called out Anonymous like a couple of years ago. And he's like, oh, you guys hacked my website. That wasn't even a hack. You just redirected to new URL. You guys are all pussies and fakes. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm not afraid of you. You guys can't do nothing. You're just a bunch of like losers or whatever. And it's like within 24 hours, his social security number, his address, his phone number, all of his bank accounts and logon information.
Totally doxed.
Doxed, 100% doxed to the internet. And it like threw him into a frenzy, right? He had to go into like fast react mode. They took over all of his websites. They took over his email. They took over his social media. I mean, it took him 24 hours. Like how many people did they have work in that equation?
Honestly, it wouldn't take very many.
Probably
not really.
Probably.
I just love it when they get a cause. I love it when there's like something legit and they go for it. Like I gotta say, because I feel like, why not? I mean, it's like if it's a form of protest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'd hate to be on the receiving end of it, but at the same time, it's like, God, it's amazing.
Yeah. Like if you tell them they can't do something, they will, because I mean, and all the way down to the most brute force attack too. It's like somebody, so I had a security guy come look at my house about, God, this is like 18 years ago.
You think he was a security guy?
Yeah. No, actually he came back and robbed me later at gunpoint. No, he was from, I think it was ADT. I think it was either ADT or Brinks. And he comes out to my house and he does, they do a thing where they do an audit, right? They walk around the house and they find all the places where common criminals are going to be able to leverage something to get into your house easily, or how they're going to disable an alarm system, or where they're going to look for cameras. And he's going through, and I could not believe how many ways this guy found to get into my house. And not only did he say it, he proved it. He did it in front of me. For every one of the things that he said he could do that was non-destructive, he did. He was able to pop open my windows that were latched closed, like from the inside, those windows that you close and you lock. Yeah. They like click down. He showed me how to defeat that. He just pulled a piece of plastic out of his hand and ran it up along the edge of the window and was able to push up the little bar and then slide the window open. It took him like 2 seconds. So he's like, for these, what you want to do is, he said, go get a piece of wood and cut it the length of the window all the way down. And when the window's closed, slide him into the track. and there's no way to push those out because you have to physically grab them and pull them out in their pressure fit. So he's like, if you do that, then they have to break the glass, and if they have to break the glass, that's going to set off the glass break sensor. So
it's
like,
just one more reason for them not to break in.
Exactly. And he said in a lot of cases, if they see measures like this, they expect that there's going to be harder measures ahead of it. So
they might as well go to the guy next door who hasn't locked his back door.
And that's what he told me. He said the goal isn't to get robbed. He said if somebody wants to rob you, it's going to happen. All the way up into them going to jail. Like that, they will either succeed or go to jail. There's no if they're that dead on about it, because he said literally to get into a house, all you need is a freaking battery powered skill saw. All you do with the battery powered skill saw, you start at the bottom of the door, it's all wood, up the thing, you cut the whole freaking side off the hinge and push the door in. You're inside of the house within 30 to 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the app that the guy created? Well, it was an app, but the program this guy created that I shouldn't say guy because I don't know who it is. That uses the sound of the tumblers clicking to build the keys.
Sure.
No,
isn't that neat?
I didn't see that.
Oh my God. So technically they proved with a working prototype that they could record the sound of a key going into a lock and then recreate the key physically with a 3D printer based on the sounds analysis that worked in the lock.
That's wild. I did not know that, but I could totally see that technology working.
Yeah,
I mean, it had to be sensitive.
Totally believable. Totally.
Or the brute force attacks. You see the guy just takes a Sawzall and he cuts the blade in half so that it's just a long piece of metal. It doesn't even have any grabbers or anything. And he basically just sticks it in the lock and just hammers that sumbitch like, and it basically just causes all of the pins to just like shatter out of the way.
That is super broody, though. Like, you don't need a skill saw for that.
No. I mean, these are
the pins.
Just kick the door in.
They got lock picking guns that basically do that.
Oh yeah,
It's just a paddle,
just basically like a vibrator attached to it,
and it rakes. It just pulls it over and over. You put a little twist on the barrel, and you go, and it's just raking the pins until they all pop up into line.
You know what works for that? Have you done this with an electric toothbrush?
No, the Sonicare, I've seen that.
You could file down the Sonicare and have it, and it's the same kind of yeah. I love that stuff.
Bump gun.
And the bump guns, they only work on. I mean, they have locks now that have special pins in them that defend against a bump attack. But like the Sawzall is so freaking powerful, it knocks them all out of the way. Even serrated pins get knocked out of the way by it. It's so powerful.
Yeah. Or as you say, knock on the door, they open it, you back them in the face, and
or I mean, like this. People say like your door, like make your door really secure. You know, they have these pins that you can put in your door where it basically secures your door to the frame. But the problem is the pins are just these metal things that are this big around. So all you have to do is slide a card in and go down along the edge of the door. And as soon as you feel a pin in that place, you just take a screwdriver and a hammer and just bash it and it breaks it out of the wood. And then you pull it off the hinges. Like good. If you know what you're doing, you could take a metal security door like off a building in under a minute if you have the right tools. So now the thing is, they're probably not going to do that because in the community, if your neighbor sees somebody like ripping your door off the front of your house, you know, they might go rob your neighbor instead, right? So if the windows are hard to get into without making a noise and it's hard to get in the front door, usually they're not going to go for you. But let's say that they're just hard up and they want to take your house down, right? Then they're going to keep escalating, right? There's going to be different ways. Like one of the ways, the one that I thought is the craziest, and this is a good piece of advice. So guys, listen up. This one is actually really, really good. If you go out into your garage and you have a dangly piece of rope hanging down from from the garage door on the ceiling for releasing it. Basically, it's for if your power goes out, so you can open the door. You pull down on it, it clicks, and then you lift the door up. So he showed me that with a coat hanger, all you do is slide a coat hanger through the top edge of the door, and you grab around that rope with the coat hanger because you can usually see, even if you can't see, you can do this attack. You basically just feel for the rope on the coat hanger and you pull it towards you, and then the knob at the end of the coat hanger gets caught up on it, and you give it a hard tug and it pops that latch and you can open up the garage door. And
or in my case, you can just walk through the wall that they didn't build.
There you go. That works too. But the thing is, he did it. He pulled out his little coat hanger and he did it, and it took him maybe 15 seconds to locate because at the time I didn't have frosted windows, so he could guide it. But he said even if he couldn't see it, he said he'd get it within a minute. And so the solution is like stupid easy. All you do is just cut the nub off the end of the rope.
Yeah,
that's it. Because then when they try to hook the thing around it to grab it and they pull it towards them, the rope's really lightweight, so they can't feel it, and it just slides out. And you can't get anything through that gap because it's so thin that it has a gripper on it.
The little handle thing, you just take that off.
Yeah. So you just take the handle off. That's all you do. Just snip it. So he walked into my garage, he took a pair of scissors, and he's just like clip. And the knob's off, and he's like, there you go. And he went outside and demonstrated that he couldn't grab it after that. And I was like, and he said also frost frost your windows and keep your blinds closed, like when you're not home, because a lot of crimes happen because people just glance through your window. They're walking by, they go look in your window, they see something of value, and then they think it's worth breaking in. If they can't see inside of the house, and they're not
face
sure,
full of dog. You get a face full of dog if they try that in our house.
Exactly. Same thing with garage doors. Like the most garages that get hit, the overwhelming number of garages that get hit are ones that have windows in them. Because they can peer in and make sure that nobody's in there. They can verify that there's enough tools and stuff that are out in the open that they can get a high value and get away. But if you frost the windows on your doors so that you can't see what's inside of the garage, then it's a crapshoot for them, and it raises the stakes. It makes it to where like they have to be way more desperate to hit your garage versus going and hitting your neighbor's garage where they can actually look in and verify there's something of value there.
I was told also we had some asshole came in and stole our bikes, and the cops said that what they do is they'll wait a month or a month and a half, and they'll come back and rob you again because you'll have new bikes then. Yeah. Now, more fool them. My dad lent me his old bike.
His older bike.
It's really old. But my dad was so funny about security, though. My dad would do things like paint his brand new bike rust color, make it look like shit. Yeah. Like he'd like spend like $1,000 on a bike and then make it look like it was just the oldest, most ratty piece of shit. I was like, well, Dad, I think it's great security wise, but you have a nice new bike that you just freaking wrecked, you know?
Man, you know what? If you guys don't mind, I want to shift gears just a little bit. Did you guys watch and this one's going to be a little bit controversial, so my apologies in advance, but you guys know I have a son who's on the autism spectrum. Right. So, you know, there's the Color of the Spectrum broadcast. You guys hear about that yesterday with Mark Rober and Jimmy Kimmel and like every single celebrity in Hollywood except for David Hewlett because they lost his number.
I was busy.
They even had Mr. Beast on there.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, I had to ban so many people off Twitter. It looks like I got to ban some more people today. But people are getting really mad because there's autism charities that are trying to, you know, gather resources and stuff to help autistic people get, you know, gain access to training and stuff like that so that they can, you know, get a job and they can function, you know, in the real world. And there's this huge movement of people that are just like super, super offended that are like, oh, you're trying to cure autism. We don't want to be cured. And they're being like hugely disrespectful to the people that have benefited hugely from these programs and from this information. I don't understand it. I'm like, why are these, like my son went through something called ABA therapy. Okay. You can look it up. There's so many people that think, oh, ABA therapy is abuse. It's this horrible thing. My son, you couldn't even touch him. He was nonverbal. And he was in pain every single day until we put him through the therapy, and we worked with him for a very long time. And he came out, and now he's like super tactile. He's super talkative. He's in public school where he was in a special school before. And they're trying to say that that's like a bad thing. Like somehow I cured autism, so I'm evil, and I changed my kid and I programmed him and he can't be himself now anymore. And I'm like, the education is never at the detriment of yourself. Like becoming educated on something doesn't make you less yourself.
No,
like, oh, it just drives me nuts that these people, I mean, and it's weird because it's quite a few people. It's even like some longtime followers of mine. You know, so somebody just tweeted me and said, oh, I'm an autism avoidance advocate and I'm very disappointed in this. This is bad optics for me, so I have to say goodbye for now. And I'm like, I don't get why these people are getting like, you're an autism acceptance advocate. How are you not accepting autism by getting your child help?
Well, it's like I've seen recently, so I follow a few ADHD accounts like on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and there's one that was really helpful for me, and they recently, like, some other dude posted a TikTok about like, oh, ADHD is a superpower, and if you think otherwise, you're doing it wrong, blah 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 blah. And she like posted a rebuttal about like, hey, look, you know, sometimes people
maybe
like
for you
seriously struggle with this stuff. Like it is a serious detriment to their like life, and like to shame people for trying to do better with their self is like, it's not a superpower for everybody. Not everybody can like twist their lives or change how their outlook to make this a positive thing. Like they need help, they need a way to adjust or like manage these issues in a good and healthy way. And he like, how dare you say that it was like back and forth, this bullshit. And I feel like it's a similar sort of tactic. It's like you shouldn't shame people for like trying to fit in, you know, especially in a way that is positive. Like there's ways to like shame somebody and make them fit in and make them feel shitty for being different and whatnot. But then there's a way to say, hey, like you're different. Here's some tools to help you get by because everybody else isn't quite like you. And so like it helps you, it helps everybody else too.
Well, it's the whole idea too of like, I mean, there was the whole discovery that autism isn't, you don't say, oh, they have autism. It's like they're on the autism spectrum. The whole idea is that there's different levels of this and different forms of autism for everybody. And that to some extent, you could almost say that everybody's on the autism spectrum to some extent. It's less, lesser or greater degrees. Same thing with, ADHD and such. And the idea that one person's experience with autism or anything else for that matter dictates what everyone else should do is ridiculous to me. Because it's entirely from your own perspective on this stuff. And from a parental standpoint, I mean, who's better to make those choices? Some fucking random guy on the internet who says that you shouldn't be doing that, and I'm not gonna follow you anymore because you don't agree with you. But the reality is, you're the parents. You know the son better than anybody else is going to know, and you're going to know what's better for them and for you and for life in general. So I don't understand. There's something about it. It's like, for some reason, it's like circumcision, babies, and doctors. Everyone's got a fucking opinion on about it. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
by the way, stop cutting your kids' junk off. Okay, it's not nice. Like, if
you know
he wants to do that later, let him do it.
Everyone's got a freaking opinion on this stuff, and it's like those are. I mean, again, I guess circumcision is a slightly different one, but the idea that people have opinions on this stuff, it's like, just like, by all means have an opinion, but don't tell me mine is wrong.
No, what pisses me off specifically about this one though, David, is like the parallel that I would give you on this is, don't send your kid to school. Don't send your kid to school so that they can learn about science and shit like that, because you're just trying to change them. Just let them just forever be ignorant and let them. Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. So if resources are available to somebody to help them navigate through life and be more successful and to be able to integrate better, and in many cases, a lot of these people like absolutely love it. Like my son, oh my God, his result, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Like he would not have been able to achieve anything that he has today as far as integrating, because he was literally like nonverbal. If you touched him, he screamed. I mean, it was bad. It was bad in the beginning, and it took a lot of work, but we got there, and he's very, very happy, super, super loving. And they're like, oh, you abused your child and changed him. You should have just accepted him for who he was. It's like, no, it's not a matter of acceptance. No matter what his level of response to the therapy was, I'd still love him exactly the same. I'm just trying to give him every opportunity, just like a parent that would send their kid to school or would get their kid educated or teach them the sciences and teach them that fire is hot and don't touch it and don't get burned. Like, I just don't get the whole ignorant position of, oh, you're trying to change them and you're not really autistic if you try to get fixed. It's like, it's not getting fixed. That's like saying education is fixing you. It's not. It's like giving you tools is what it is.
There's a fascinating movie that's out now called Sound of Metal. This sort of like, it's kind of a neat film about a guy who loses his hearing and how he's trying to figure out how to. So it's very artsy and stuff. It's beautifully done. But it's sort of about him dealing with addiction and about him dealing with his loss of hearing. Ooh. And that there's a part that certainly a large part of his recovery was with this group that was like, we're deaf. We're not trying to become hearing. We're trying to learn how to be deaf. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think again, that's a very interesting perspective, because my first, like, I have like some significant hearing issues. I want hearing aids. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not happy to just get used to not being able to hear. If there's tools that I can use to do that, that does not mean that I am saying that anybody who doesn't is an idiot. Right. You know what I mean?
So right. Some people might want to just forego the hearing and sharpen their other senses, right? And take
and your experience with your kid, it worked for you. That's fantastic. But that's not like you're saying that everyone's now got to do that.
No, I'm not saying anybody does have to do it. That's the difference here. Is I'm saying, if you don't think that's right for your kid, I will tell you about my experience. Take it with a grain of salt, do your own research, and you figure out what's right for your kid. But the second that you start attacking me and other people that are raising millions of dollars to give that as an option to somebody, you're just a fucking prick at that point.
Like, it doesn't affect you, right? Like, it doesn't. I'm not getting in your way. I'm not taking away. If I choose to go one way or the other, it doesn't stop, or it shouldn't stop someone from making a different or same choice or whatever. It's like, and you shouldn't judge based on that choice. You know.
I tweeted out a thing the other day. It was Autism Awareness Day or something, and I retweeted something that an organization had done, and I got a lot of flack back because apparently they had sort of rather checkered past with their approach to autism, and that there was no one with autism on the board, and there's all this kind of stuff, which again, I basically just owned up and said, look, I didn't do the research. I thought it sounded great. They wanted to support, people with autism and raise some money to what I thought helped them. If that's not the case, I'm sorry. But at the same time, it's like, for fuck's sake, it's a day where we're trying to, celebrate people with autism, trying to celebrate, people who are working to make, non-neurotypical lives better. Like, can we not just focus on that as opposed to on this? Everything has to be so freaking divisive now.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah. It's true. It's like this cancel shit's getting
well, I think that's the algorithm thing too, right? It's the algorithm thing too.
Yeah. And I feel like, not to like, I don't, this isn't me being negative toward it, but I feel like it did kind of start with a lot of the body positivity stuff. And it's like, I'm all for it. People should love who they are and not be, it's the judgment of choices.
Yeah.
That don't harm other people. Right. If like the flack Jerry gets all the fucking time, man, you don't think fucking Jerry knows?
I know.
For fuck's sake.
I got a mirror. Right? I get up out of bed every single morning. I know gravity's effect on me.
No way. You don't say that this is going to affect my heart. Whatever. All the same shit. Like or whatever, there's whatever the thing is. Oh, I choose to, like, nobody's holding a gun to my head to not eat meat. If I wanted to, my lady's going to let me buy a steak and I'll eat whatever the fuck I want. Like, if I wanted to, like, it's a choice. But I'll catch a little bit of flack, like, oh, hey, like, you're a simp or whatever bullshit about, like, because my lady wants to be vegetarian and I'll eat whatever's in the fridge. I don't care. But it's like, it's that's what bothers me. It's the judgment of these choices. You'll see somebody who's, got some weight and they choose to go on the journey of weight loss, and they're like, oh, you don't have to do that. You're beautiful the way you are, blah, blah, blah. Or you've been manipulated by the system to think that you're ugly and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, I just don't want this. I'm making a choice. I don't want to
just rather be a little healthier.
Yeah. Or whatever.
I think it's also, it's an easy way to get attention.
Sure.
Is to be a dick. Honestly, I mean, like, I feel like, and I think everyone's perspective it's that great quote by that Robin Williams quote where it's like, you don't know what battle that person is fighting. I mean, like, so just like, why make it more difficult? Why not just make it easier? You know what I mean? Like, why not go, oh, that's cool, that's interesting, what worked for you, as opposed to, you're wrong. Right? You know what I mean? You might learn something.
Because the core of it for me is these choices don't affect you in any way. If I choose to start lifting weights and I want to be a bodybuilder, right? Starting today, I'm starting my journey. I'll catch shit. Oh, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't, like, you woke up this morning not knowing that somebody made this choice, and it had no effect on you whatsoever until you decided to be bent out of shape or to have some sort of way. It made you feel a certain way. You responded in this way. You chose that response. And now it's affecting you. Like, you could have been like, okay, Houston wants to go do that. I don't agree, and left it at that. But no, you made a choice to now make it a thing. Like, and that's what bothers me, is like, it doesn't, Jerry's choice to have Xander go through whatever it is he went through literally hurt no one. No one.
And helped Xander. So
I
feel as soon as you make a decision, or you make a piece of art, or you create something, or you write something, or you have an opinion, there are going to be people who are going to come down on it. And I feel like, you know what? It's very, very easy to judge and to diss stuff. It's a lot harder to make decisions and to make things. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And yeah, man.
And I think that's probably why there's so much more of it out there. It's so much easier. The cost of entry to judge is nothing. Yeah. Whereas the cost of actually making a decision and then actually admitting to it or putting it out there in the world, that's a lot harder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. The
If you don't
internet
want to be
is
criticized, don't be on the internet. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
no consequence. Like this thing where there's like no consequence. But here's the thing: they really think that there's no consequences. Like case in point, guy messaged me, "Oh, I can no longer follow you because you're what you did to your son." I'm like, "Okay, I blocked you. That's good. You unfollowed me. I blocked you." Immediately, people start messaging me, "Why'd you block that autistic guy? Like, why would you block him for disagreeing with you?" No, I blocked him because he unfollowed me and used it as a weapon against me because he doesn't agree with what I'm doing for my son. Why would I want somebody like that ever following me? How do you keep somebody from following you? You block them. That like literally it's that simple. But people are like, they think that they can just treat me like shit and somehow I'm going to tolerate that. No.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I never ever will either.
But it's not a public platform. I mean, yes, it's a public platform, but it's your platform, right? So you can choose who you want at your party or not. You know what I mean? Like I sort of feel like it's a party and it's like, sorry, you're not invited, but you were a dick. Or even you made me uncomfortable or whatever. Like you've got, like I feel like you can. I don't know why you can't do that.
Actually,
and I've seen you get a lot of flack for banning people too.
I do all constantly. I keep doing it though.
I feel like this is a good way to segue into one of our topics. Actually,
space race.
Can I get a couple of the super chats?
Yeah, knock those out.
Oh yeah, right, I'm gonna get coffee. Hang on,
do it. Get caffeinated,
I've seen
brother.
the super chats. Thank you for feeding and keeping these guys to doing the wrong things in their lives.
Thank you, David. Hey, Michael Hauser, thank you for the $5. Said David, quit bragging about your butt. Some of us has to work for it. He's talking about the sex scene earlier. Oh, we lost. Oh shit, I lost both of them. Oh my god, I'm all by myself. They left me all by myself. It's okay. I can get through these. Andrew P said, may I ask if Stargate's going to come out with a new season? I don't think they are actually, Andrew. David, even if he knew, he couldn't say anything. But as far as I know, because I'm allowed to talk about this shit since I don't have any preview information, I don't think there's going to be a new one anytime soon. If there is, I don't think it's going to have any of the original cast or anything like that. It'll just be like another angle on it. Pinking, thank you, the $5. Said I was diagnosed with autism at age of 2. Yeah, my son was also diagnosed around the age of 2 officially, and they were pretty sure he was on the spectrum at 1. They usually don't test at 1 for a whole multitude of reasons, but he checked all the boxes that they wanted to detect it as early as possible. He said, now that I'm 28, I never had any of those resources after high school. And see, here's the thing, like, wouldn't you have loved to have had the option for those resources? That's what this is all about. Like, people are mad, like, oh, you're trying to change or cure autism. Like, they keep throwing our words like eugenics and shit like that. It's like, dude, technically we're changing our DNA when we go get a fucking vaccine so that we don't infect and kill a bunch of other people. It's like, if you want to call it eugenics because you're trying to make something better or to make somebody's life better, then so be it. You can be that person, but don't take that opportunity away from somebody else. Because if you think that it is wrong for a parent to have access to resources to help their autistic child, if you think that is wrong because they are changing them, then you think vaccines are wrong. You think any medical intervention is wrong. You think that if somebody identifies as or wants like a gender reassignment surgery, that's wrong. Like, you're taking all of these things away. It's a tool for them. It's not your decision. It's their decision. And they should have as many of those tools available and at their disposal as possible. And it's their choice to make. If you're going to go out of your way to try to take those options away from people, just because you may have had a bad experience yourself, or maybe it didn't work for you, it wasn't great, don't take it away from everybody else. That's my point. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody. Like, I've read cases of ABA being terrible because there are some bad therapists. There are some bad fits. Like, every kid is different. Every therapist is different. But just because you have a bad experience or you know of somebody who had a bad experience doesn't mean you should take it away from the thousands and thousands of people that have had amazing experiences and have grown up and actually got like really good jobs and are very, very thankful themselves. Because here's the other thing. Somebody's like, oh, they're not really thankful. They were just trained to be thankful. So it's not really them. No, bullshit. Bullshit that you don't even get to use that scapegoat. That's like me saying, okay, you being against all this is because somebody trained you to be against all of this. Like, no, you own your decisions. You own them. It's, oh my God. Anyways, Pup Shepherd, hey, what's up, dude? Woof woof. Thank you, the $5. Said people need to learn to love and respect each other again. I swear the internet's making me a jaded person, dude. So much hate in the world. I see it in the face of people who walk past me. It's sad. Well, at least you get to see the faces of people that walk past you. I mean, I'm actually looking forward for that day to come again. Although, dude, hey, Aux, what do you think the world is going to look like? Like, everybody coming out after a year of being in isolation and the internet being their only form of communication. I almost feel like when everybody's stuffed in a room together again, like we used to do, like conventions and stuff, like nobody's going to act the same. Like you're just going to see fights breaking out like left and right because people are just going to be so used to being a dick online that they're just going to carry that into their real life because they don't remember the consequences.
Maybe. I feel like some folk might, but like it's only been a year. It's not, and we still had pretty open and normal human interactions and stuff. I do think that not necessarily the pandemic, but the past few years have definitely opened up a box of like normalizing some pretty heinous behavior.
Yeah.
Or not heinous. Heinous might be a strong word, but definitely it's made people a lot more bold with some of their more
it's like the filters
radical opinions, I guess.
I believe everybody always had radical opinions. I think it's just they knew when to keep it to themselves or when they were in good company to talk about those kind of things. I feel like that filter has been compromised, and now everybody feels like every location is the time to talk about something.
Yes,
you know, it's like easier to react too, right? It's there's not someone there to look in their eyes and go like, "You're a fucking asshole," and you got to say it to their face. That's an effort. That takes balls. But doing it online, it's like there's no. You can do it without even thinking, and then go.
Well, and but I mean, not just online, because like that I would think shrinks it to just like the pandemic recent stuff, right?
The internet shrinks your balls. Is that what you're saying?
I'm talking about like the march in Virginia or whatever it was 3 years ago. A bunch of guys with fucking tiki torches and shit, right? Like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
You kept that shit to yourself not too long ago. Like you had parties in your fucking basement with a bunch of other folk who thought like you because you found a fucking Facebook group or something. You didn't put that shit out in the public. But now it's a lot. There's a lot more support for that sort of stuff. There's a lot.
Like
it's a lot more.
Extremism is being normalized by the internet.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
It is. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself, David. That's literally it.
It is.
I mean, I suppose because, you know, it used to be you would grow up and you were on your own and you were always a bit like, well, I think this, but I don't know if anyone else does.
Yeah.
And you were sort of, everyone was unique, right? Everyone was completely unique, but no one talked about everyone being unique at all.
Right.
Now everyone talks about being unique, and yet they all find these clusters of people who are like-minded or like-dressed or like-beliefed or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's the difference. I mean, the reality is when you look at it if you step back far enough, you realize that the world is a better place than it was.
Oh,
less
hugely.
people are, you know,
hugely undeniably.
But is it perfect? By no means.
I'm a firm believer. Like this is the greatest time ever in human history. This is the best time to be a human being ever. Like it really is. Despite there's always been weird shit. There's always been troubles, right? Always. Yep. And I feel like because of where we're at, we're still very early on in the like lifespan of the internet and social media in a big way.
Specifically, yeah.
And so like it's disruptive, it's crazy, it's weird, and like there's people still really aren't sure what to make of it and how to use it and like the detriments and the positives. But like overall, global homicide is like at a all-time low, right? Yeah. There are fewer people dying every day than there ever have been.
But you hear about it more, so it seems like there's more, but statistically there isn't.
Well, because you scroll back, like we'll just look at just the United States or maybe just North America for a moment. The first televised police chase, right? You go back whenever that may have been. They realized that the sensationalism of it would keep eyeballs on the TV.
24-hour news.
That's the core of it. Honestly,
I think 24-hour news. You could probably bring it back to that.
Yeah, it's because it's easier to put. It's so easy to put crazy stuff in front of people all the time. We've talked about this in the social media space too. That controversy breeds engagement. Doesn't matter if I say Apple sucks. If I put out a 3-minute video talking about how much I hate Apple,
James Gurney keeps telling you how much he likes his Mac. I know.
Same thing on TikTok. Every TikTok that's like something like, fuck this and fuck that and blah blah blah. Yeah, 10 million views. You know, and it's weird.
and it's the curation part. It's like this and that. We're still, like I said, we're still in this weird fluxy space. There was a comment in the chat
We're
about
still gaming
echo
the
chambers.
system.
Yeah.
For sure. The JP is like, I think the problem is that online everyone has found an echo chamber and now thinks that's what the rest of the world is.
You can find all the news. Yeah, you find all the news you want to hear.
It's always been that way.
It's true.
Think before the internet, your echo chamber was your town, your high school. The people who never left their high school never thought any different than the way they did in high school.
Yeah.
Your country's newspaper.
Nothing ever changes. Yeah, your country. However, the echo chamber has always been there. It's just all of this.
Yeah, it's like back in the day, if you lived in the South, it'd be like, oh, slaves are normal. And then you go somewhere else where they're not. And you're like, what the fuck's wrong with everybody else? Like, you're the problem, not me. Like, you know.
in Canada, Canada won the War of 1812. In America, you did.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of weird. It's, I guess it's just, and that's why I think it's important that people digest as much information as possible. But that's why I think the internet is just information overload. So you end up to the point where you have so much echo chamber information. Like the flat earth community now has grown to this point where it's like they can just watch flat earth justification videos 24/7. They don't have any time to ever, even if they wanted to, they have no time to venture outside of that circle. So they're just constantly like in it and reinforcing each other. It's like a fusion reactor just building to critical mass, right? It's like, and if anybody tries to come in from the outside, it's always a small group that they're kind of letting in a little bit at a time, so that the mob is always big enough that they can basically topple them over, so that they can keep their delusion going. And
it almost feels like cults. It almost feels
cults.
like everyone has their own little cult.
Kinda.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I feel like, and again, the thing about cults is they don't want you to have outside influence. They don't want you to be getting news from anywhere else. They want to be the news source, and they want to be the source of everything for you. And I think that that's, in a way, what we're doing is like the internet is creating, and social media is creating like little sort of almost like personal cults.
Yeah, you're able to curate your own community, your own cult,
with you as the leader who everyone agrees with, because everyone's, I'm not saying a leader even just from a following number, but I mean like you're just finding everybody who agrees with everything you say.
Yeah, we're all,
and together you get to beat up the guys who don't. Yeah.
We're all guilty of it to varying extents. It's like, I curate my audience too, because I get, but the thing is, I get a lot of people that'll come at me and say, oh, you're just banning somebody because they disagree with you. And it's like, no, you don't understand. Like, it does me no good to have somebody who follows me, who holds a really, really disgusting view, that is unwilling to try to learn together. Like there's nothing I can tell them that's going to give them any kind of a new perspective. And there's nothing they can tell me to change my perspective, because there's just too big of a gap there. So it's like all my time that I'm wasting on them, I could be using for somebody who is legitimately interested in the truth, or trading information for us both to change our minds. That happens pretty frequently with me on Twitter. It's like, that's where I want to spend my time. So it's not so much that I'm banning the person because it's like some kind of a power trip or something like that, although I love doing that to the trolls.
I was going to say, but even if it is, who cares?
Who cares? It's your house. You don't let assholes in your house, right? They can go outside and still scream at the neighbors and go out in the cul-de-sac and yell at the top of their lungs. That's fine. They can do that on public property. But no, it's like in your house, you get to make the rules. Yep. And that goes for everybody else too. Like if I walk into somebody, if I go into some stream that's like some huge like conservative, oh my God, we love Trump stream or whatever, and I walk in there and they ban me because of something I say, I'm not like, oh my God, I can't believe you banned me. Let me in now. Oh my God. I can't, you let me in. I'll go create another account.
You guys are Trump assholes.
Yeah. Like, no, it's like you banned me. It's
the whole point of the thing.
Like, I don't want to be like, thank you. Like it was a good move. You made the right decision. It's not just about me.
I just got to check in make sure my kid is still alive. He's walking the dog. So,
okay. Make sure you didn't get eaten.
I just got a text. So I want to make sure that it's not like, Dad, some guy wants to give me candy and have him hop in the van.
Be like, Dad, I'm in a van. There's no windows. And
yeah, he's got the coolest van.
Just bring me something.
Oh no, we're good.
Hey, Andrew Pete, thank you for the $5. Said hashtag big hug. Oh man, I will always take a hug. That's the thing I miss the most, man.
I like my hugs.
I was a super human contacty, clingy person. And
that's why you got con crud every time.
I did every time, dude. Every convention I went to, I probably hugged 300 people. Like I was just a hugger, and I die today. Like
super weird though, because I've been to cons with you.
Yeah,
I've touched the same people you do. I've hugged the same people you do. I've sat next to you for days.
Yep.
At cons, and I don't get sick.
I think it's because I literally absorb the gravity of my body, absorbs all the particulate. So I'm basically like a bug zapper for bugs. Like when you're near me, I'm sucking in all of the virus before you get to it.
Sick
every
single time, and I'm sure it's just in my head. But
Yep.
No joke. 2
packs
cons in my entire life. I didn't get sick. The rest of them, always within 3 days of getting back, I had some kind of bacterial infection.
I can't think of one. Well, because everything gets caught in your beard.
I think so, man. Because like serious business. I've been to PAX 6 times. I've been to TwitchCon 3. Thousands and thousands of people. I've been in panels with hundreds of people. I've been pushing through crowds of folk on the floors and stuff. Never once. Don't get sick.
Yeah, the other thing too, though, I think the more likely answer is one, you're younger, you're healthier, and you also are around people a lot more than me, which means that you have a lot more viral load just on a daily basis, keeping your immune system kicked up.
Like I never see anybody, and then I see like 200 people.
No, that's exactly it. Like I'll go to a convention, I'll maybe see 20 people between conventions, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, what in the hell? Whereas you go to work and it's like you're interacting with coworkers, you guys are all touching each other's stuff. That's true. Yeah, because when I worked at Microsoft, I didn't get sick nearly as much as I did when I was work from home. Yeah. Like it's clear that being in an environment with like a lot of little pathogens that don't really do much, like keep your immune system, because if you got a lot of antibodies like floating around, you got a good shot at beating something before it overtakes you. And when you're just sitting idle and there's no threats, your body just goes into like low state, right? And so my immune system's just never really perked up. What I really need to do is like before I go to a convention is I should spend like the previous 2 weeks literally like going outside and doing yard work and digging in the soil and
just licking random shit.
Yeah, just licking the sidewalk and handles on mailboxes and shit, and basically just build up antibodies as much as I can. And
the guy
with
the flyers. The guy with the flyers comes to the door, just lick that sucker.
Just open up the door and just grab his whole pile and just be like, hand it back to him. Be like, sir, if I give you $20, will you kiss me on the lips? What? There's a legitimate reason.
There's a Hungarian saying that says like, if the child doesn't eat dirt, it dies. And the idea is that basically like you can't protect it from everything, otherwise it's protected from nothing.
Yeah, just be careful playing in the dirt in the Pacific Northwest, because you will get planter's warts and they suck.
I was gonna say, or
even you got to get that shit burned off with like liquid nitrogen. Or also hey, I know how to get rid of a planter's wart without liquid nitrogen. My method actually works better because I've had to deal with like 4 or 5 planter's warts over the years.
Super glue and a Band-Aid? Duct tape?
Super glue and duct tape. That's it.
Did you tell me that? Were you the one who told me that?
Yeah. I had one that they burned off 3 times with liquid nitrogen and it kept coming back. And the doctor was like, shit, I don't know what to tell you, dude. He's like, that last time we got it really good. I mean, he burned in my finger. There was a hole in my finger. And he's like, and it came back, and I was like, oh my God. So I was just looking online, trying to find everything I could. And I found something that said that if you put super glue on it, it suffocates it. So it can't get oxygen, because the planter's wart needs oxygen. It'll die without it. So what you do is you put the glue on it, but the problem is the glue gets really hard and it'll just clump off.
Flake off, yeah.
But if you put a piece of duct tape over it, like right as it's still tacky, like you put it on there, you let it get tacky, you put a little piece of duct tape over it, it like bonds to the duct tape and pulls it into your skin and just suffocates the shit out of it. You just change it every 3 or 4 days. You peel it off, and then after I think it's a week and a half or 2 weeks, you'll peel it off and it'll literally take the whole planter's wart is just a little black like BB and pull it off your finger. Never came back. I've done that for 2 different planter's warts in 2 different places. They never came back after that.
God, that's gross.
So just a little drop of cyanide. You have to make sure that you encompass the whole thing, not just the top, and then you put the tape on it. Boom. So I was like, dude, I found the method to get rid of the most crazy planter's wart ever.
That is so revolting.
David, how much money would I have to give you to eat it?
Oh God! In my mind, I already have.
I am almost sure that I've done the calculus in my head, and I am pretty sure that I would make more money off the YouTube video ad revenue from making the video of you eating that than you'd request for me to pay you to eat it. And that's the kind of world we live in. That's why we have the content that we do on YouTube, and why it's because literally you make more money than what it costs. Like the people that get pulled over by cops. Have you seen all these channels popping up where it's like these dudes in cars doing like 150 miles an hour, getting pulled over from the cops and like having their cars impounded? And it's like a vlog of them going and paying to get their car out of impound and everything. The video has like 13 million views and made like enough to buy their car 3 times. Yeah,
pay the fines. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Like, and they even
Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast's a perfect example of that. Like he seems like a nice guy, by the way. But
he's a very nice guy. Jimmy's a really nice guy.
Is he? Because I got in on that Magic the Gathering thing. It was a great excuse just to play a lot of Magic the Gathering games in the hopes that I would play against him and get $25,000. Anyways, point being, like that guy's made a career out of basically going like, okay, I give $25,000 away on a video. I'm making I'm making 150,000 on that video.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, and now he blows like a million. He'll do a video. He'll spend $1 million on it.
He's giving away freaking Maseratis and stuff.
Yep.
Man. See, that's smart. That's gaming the system and gaming it early. Now everyone's trying to give stuff away.
Yeah, and Mr. Beast is like the OG original that did that formula and had it work. Now there's a million other people that are trying to replicate it, and a lot of them had success. There's still a lot of other channels that are just, varying degrees of Mr. Beast. But
basically just buying followers.
That's all you are. Yeah, but the cool thing about it is he reinvests. Greed dictates success. Because if you did what Mr. Beast did, but you took the lion's share and you couldn't afford to invest it in the next video and go up an echelon, you would eventually just dry out and somebody else would surpass you.
But that's
Jimmy
what I worry about.
If
you're constantly, if you're constantly trying to up yourself, you're fucked. But he does things like, oh, let's start a thing about, getting trees planted. Let's start doing you've got, at some point you've got to, look, I talk to the kids the Tech Bandits kids about the streaming stuff all the time. And I'm like, what are you going to do that you can do over and over and over again that you're going to love? Because if you get really good at Minecraft, but you don't want to play Minecraft anymore, that's the end of your channel.
Yep.
And in a way, it's kind of like typecasting with acting, where what?
Oh my God, my day has been made. Logan Paul banned me on Twitter. Yes. Oh my God, yes.
What did you say?
I don't remember, but this is something I've been trying to get done for a long time, and now I got the screenshot I've been waiting for. Oh, this is awesome.
He knows me.
This is
really,
awesome.
really knows me.
Logan Paul knows who I am. Logan Paul knows who Barnacules Nerdgasm is.
Well, isn't he fighting now? Isn't he doing boxing or something now?
Yeah, he's always he's not a bad boxer though. Credit where credit's due. He's actually a decent boxer for the amount of time that he's put into it.
That's what Mickey Rourke did. Same thing.
So he's actually decent at it. So I'm credit where credit's due, but I mean he's just a shitty human. The dude literally made a vlog of dead people hanging in trees in the Japanese suicide forest for views, and nowhere along the way did he think that was a bad idea. And even when it was called out as a bad idea, he kept the video published until literally mainstream media came down on him. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I was just in shock. And, when I'm in shock, I just awkwardly video and laugh about stuff. And he's harassed police in other countries. He's been banned he's banned out of Japan just for harassing police.
Oh man, and just the racist stuff with the walking around with the little pointy hats and stuff, and oh god,
yeah,
it was just
him
awful.
And his brother, they peddle every fucking scam. Now by the way, they're on BitClout. That's why he probably banned me. I bet you was calling him out for BitClout.
Yeah,
because he joined that scam BitClout because he got paid a lofty sum behind the scenes for him to join that platform and expose his child audience to this huge scam. And
why don't we get in on that?
Dude,
why don't we get lofty prices for scamming kids?
We should, man. That's the world that we're going to. It's the Paul brothers have both proven that the amount of money that you make from doing bad things is way more than the penalty.
The thing I would argue with this situation, though, to some extent, is that a lot of these kids start out as kids, making stupid mistakes, not understanding the repercussions. I mean, they're saying stuff to get attention, and they're not realizing that, if you, for one of a better example, the crazy white supremacist stuff that people will spout just to get a rise out of people, and they don't understand that there's actually there's a price that's paid for that, not even by themselves, but by the people who are seeing, their relatives' history, being mocked or whatever. And I feel like you're growing up on the internet. So you're making mistakes that you could make in real life, but that wouldn't have the same kind of repercussions. What makes me almost more sick is all of the sycophants and the marketers and the agents around that who are saying go destroy your fucking life, be a dick, and we're going to take our 20% or we're going to take our 15%. There's no one there to go, hey, is this what you want to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And especially with the kid part, it's sometimes they are pushed continue whether they want to or not. I've been catching little blips of Will Wheaton's childhood story. And
he's had an interesting.
I guess just some little blips that I've been seeing is he really didn't want to do acting and stuff. He wanted to just be a normal kid, and but his mom was kind of a dick and push, didn't listen to him, all kind of, and And I'm sure it's that way. Hell, look at Britney Spears.
Justin Bieber, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
That poor kid. I mean, look, he seems like a talented singer. Seems like I'm glad he's not my kid, but but at the same time, like, what do you do if your parents make it clear that success in whatever field that they've decided is right for you? Look, it's the reason why I don't want my kid to be an actor was because not that I don't want him to be an actor, but I don't want to promote him being an actor, because I go by doing that as a parent, you're saying, like, I value you more if you succeed in this era.
Yep.
In this area. You know what I mean? And I think that's just such a dangerous thing for kids to get into. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I do feel like you want to leave your kids and let them decide for themselves if that's what they want to do or not.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's rough though, because
Justin Bieber sucks acid to me. Look, I'm not saying anything about it. Look, I would argue, I got to say, I am the worst taste in music. I love Justin Bieber. I'm big.
His recent stuff's actually
got some great stuff. He's got some great stuff. He's got some crap. He's got a lot of crap too. But and what's her name? The other one I really like is the kid with Tourette's. God, what's her name? She's just done a documentary on like Netflix or something.
I don't know.
I know
there's an interesting.
I can never
streamer.
remember her name.
There's an interesting streamer that's got Tourette's and does really well. It's fun. I can't remember now, but. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's rough. Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish, that's it. Yeah, Billie.
Oh, yeah, she got Tourette's.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Huh. Sweet.
Yeah, she's got like sort of a physical twitch Tourette's thing that she's got going. You know?
Sweet Anita's the streamer I was thinking of. She's got Tourette's and
Sweet Anita, right?
Yeah, which is super fun.
So this is so far from the little bit of crowdsourcing I did here. It looks like Logan Paul just recently banned me for calling out BitClout and trying to stop him from pulling all of his people into the scam. He's claiming his account tomorrow on BitClout and leading his millions of child followers into a freaking pyramid scheme. And so he wanted to silence.
Should hack that.
Yeah, and he's literally he's trying to silence me because he doesn't want his viewers seeing any of the posts that I made in his threads. So that's why he banned me on Twitter, because I mean his payday is pretty much only going to happen if he gets a lot of people on that platform.
But he still can't get his money out anyways, though, can he?
No, well,
unless they pay him behind the scenes.
They're paying behind the scenes,
not through the platform.
Yeah, no. They tried to go after the first tier creators like Elon Musk and stuff like that, basically by hyperinflating them and making them think they're worth a value. But none of them bit. So now they're going after all of like the D-list celebrities that are like on the backside of their careers and everything, and they just offer them cash. You're gonna get yours, David. You're gonna get yours, brother.
I'm gonna be in there.
You're gonna get it. So, and the thing is, like, if you just look
$100.
If you look at the history of just Logan Paul and the things that they've done in the associations with like the loot crate companies and scam, they're behind a lot of scams, like the CS skin thing that they did that was total bullshit. The gambling site that was not a gambling site but took real money. They've all been involved in a lot of scams. So this is no different. It's just a big payday, right, to do these scams. So it's just another one to add to the long list, right? They know that they have an audience of impressionable kids that if they tell them that, oh, it's not a scam or it's not a big deal, or they just ask for forgiveness, they'll get it. And so they're just going to keep on doing this shit.
If you're transparent about this stuff, as long as everyone knows what they're getting into, they're not.
That's the thing is they're not transparent about it. Like when Jake got busted by the loot crate company because he had like involvement in it. He basically just came out and he's like, oh, I don't see what the big deal is, like blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it was a very big deal. You were basically made a video showing that everybody will get 10 times the value in the boxes. And then everybody that bought it basically just got like counterfeit shit from China that wasn't worth anything. And it was like clearly counterfeit. It wasn't even good counterfeit stuff, or it was just garbage in the box. You'd pay $100 and get like $40 or $30 worth of shit. And so they got busted for that. They've been sued for multiple things. It's funny. It's just that you can tell that they're like on the backside of what's going on. They're just trying to throw as much shit at the wall and see if it sticks. And they really don't give a shit about their own personal reputation. I mean, and once you get to that point, you'll do anything.
But there is I've got a weird sense of that, because while I kind of admire the people who will sort of stagger out into a new thing and figure out how to try to make some money on it. Like, I'm always like, oh man, that's like, I wish I'd thought of that or whatever. But at the same time, there are certain things that just don't feel right. What was I talking about this? I was talking about this on you know what? I think it was on the Darknet Diaries Patreon Discord, and he was talking about how you could hack the Apple podcast algorithms. And basically there wasn't any. You just you went and hired like some guys out of Bangladesh that would sign up for 30 accounts a day and subscribe. And then within a week, you would be in the top 60 of the podcast and stuff. And I started going like, well, what is the line between smart marketing, online digital marketing, and exploits and hacking? Because like with Twitter, I've been to auditions where they've said, okay, and there'd be a list to sign in, and then it would say, what's your Twitter followers? And I'm like, how many fucking Twitter followers do you want me to have? Because I could just go buy them. Like, this doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, followers don't mean shit.
But I thought if it's important and it's going to get me jobs, I'll buy them. I got no problems with that. If my industry is so stupid that but then I looked into it and I was like, except that, first off, it feels weird anyways. And also, when they finally figure that out, there's going to be a whole wave of like, oh, look who bought followers. Yep. And I don't want to be in that group of like pathetic people who are like, trying to hide the fact. I would probably have to I'd say, okay, guys, I'm going to see if I can buy 100,000 followers on Twitter and see what happens.
Well, the problem is the system rewards it. Like this is where it's getting really bad. It's like YouTube is a great example of this. Okay. So there's a epidemic going on YouTube, and there has been for a long time, and you can verify it yourself. Go to any video that's got any kind of viewership. Like, it's got to be a video that has a bit of viewership. Go down in the comments and look through the comments, and at least every like third comment that you see will be somebody going like, oh, hit up dude on Instagram. He will hack into your spouse's phone or whatever, get your stuff. Or, oh, he got my phone back when I got locked out of it. Contact on Instagram. And it'll just be thousands of these randomly generated Instagram accounts that you go and basically send Bitcoin to, and then they claim that they'll do hacker services for you. And the message is all, they don't even try to change the message. So it's hugely repetitive. The accounts and the way that they generate them, they're all usually young accounts, right? They don't even go through trouble of hacking like old accounts and giving them legitimacy. So the problem is YouTube could easily filter this out. It would be so trivial for YouTube to just go build a regular expression that identifies account that is created that goes and spams the same message to like 100 videos in 30 minutes. And they'd be able to wipe these accounts out overnight. They don't. The digital Jesuit has a little script that does exactly that. It just goes through and says, "Oh, those are obviously bot accounts," and just deletes them. Yeah, there's little people write browser plugins specifically for getting. It's very easy to spot. My point being is like you have to go through a little bit more effort to like get an email through spam detection, right? Like, have you ever seen those emails in Gmail where it just looks like it's a bunch of ANSI characters, and then you open the mail and you don't see those characters? It's like a real email. It's basically them like putting in hidden CSS and JavaScript that basically just creates a randomness that basically defeats the spam filter in Google. They don't even have to do that on YouTube. On YouTube, you can literally just cut and paste the same message to 1,000 videos, and it never sees that as spam. Even Twitter, if you post the same reply to like 3 or 4 things, it'll start deleting them. Yeah. And so it's easy to do. Now, why don't they though? Because that comment that's left on that video is a metric that increases its SEO and gives them more advertiser dollars. Looks like they're more, exactly. It's more engagement. They've got active users. Exactly. Yeah. So for the people that are putting the comments on that videos, they're also counting as a view. They're usually a like too, because they want to try to get the video as prominent as possible so that their comments are seen. And then what they do is they take a bot network of 1,000 other like accounts and they come in and like the post. So they'll post on a video, their other bot network comes in and likes it up to 1,000 times. That way it goes up to the top of the feed. And it just sits there at the top of the feed. So all the comments at the top of these like viral videos are like, go to Instagram and, get my friend to unlock your phone. And it's crazy how many of these messages there are. And I've messaged YouTube. I've sent my partner manager messages and they're like, oh, unfortunately, due to the nature of these, we can't block. Dude, give me access to your fucking source code. I'll fix this shit in like 30 minutes. Like, this is not a hard problem to solve. But the more I thought about it, I was like, that they don't want to solve that problem because the way they sell advertisers on your channel and on your video is by engagement. So they want, even if the engagement people don't want to either. Yeah, but the people don't want to either. The YouTube like channels don't want to do that either because it makes them look good. Yeah. There's companies even in Toronto, in this backwards place called Toronto, where they're like their first video in a series comes out and it's like, oh my god, 150,000 views, 0 comments, and that's it. Like, and you're like, dude, you just hired a marketing company that's just bought a bunch of freaking views, and. So, or at least for my part of things and what my little minor bit of experience when it comes to digital marketing is that there is more of a shift away from that sort of viewpoint where follower count doesn't mean anything. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's because of that. How many people respond when you actually put out a tweet or something? It's engagement. That's what's important. And you're starting to see it too in how the algorithm does things like Instagram, for instance. Likes on an Instagram post are
garbage. It doesn't, that's not going to get your stuff in front of other people. It's comments are like, it's like from bottom to top. It's like likes, comments, shares, saves.
Right.
Which is weird because it's a pain in the ass to find the stuff that I've saved. Like I gotta click on my little profile. I gotta click the hamburger. I gotta go down to saved shit. If that's what Instagram wants, like as a weighted sort of like engagement number, then it should be easier for me to access that stuff. I should be able to find that stuff quicker and easier. Because then what's the incentive for me to save things if it's a pain in the ass for me to find it later? Like it's all about reducing friction, right? So, but yeah, the follower thing, and even as far as influencers go, the big guys who have like millions of followers and stuff they'll attract humongous companies, the Tide and the fucking Lexuses and the whatever, the big companies. But for like better ROI, marketing companies are targeting smaller followers, closer knit communities, very niche.
They should be going for Aux's little ticker down there, because you could have, but honestly, in a way, it's a smart way.
For $50, that's the best marketing money you can spend to get in front of the eyeballs of 600 people.
You got 2 hours of Barnacules banning people, and with your ad at the bottom of the thing. Come on.
Hey, yeah. I mean, it is that sort of mentality that it is shifting more toward.
I hope so, because it's going to help this stuff. Because it's going to mean that we can do more of these things, and that's what I like about it.
I've seen the effect of it. My lady, in fact, follows a few influencers on Instagram and stuff. They're what I would call lifestyle influencers, right? They show, oh, hey, I got this cute thing from blah 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 place, and like here, this is what it looks like, or I've just got this face cream or whatever the fuck. And I think one of her names is Brie. She talks about Brie a lot. I don't know.
God, that just makes me hungry.
With pears?
Yeah. You're old when Brie no longer sounds sexy. It just sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's but I think she probably got a couple 100,000. It's nothing crazy. But my lady it's a trust, right? It's a trust thing.
Yeah, you like them.
I don't trust somebody who's got millions of followers to tell me straight up what the deal is. Like I'm okay with ad content, right? Sponsored content. Oh, hey, fucking Kinesis paid me to tell you guys about this keyboard. But if I say it,
I love that.
It's going to be a lot more trustworthy than if if Jay says it. He's going to, probably half of his followers are going to just brush it off and say, oh, he's just being paid to say that, so why should I believe him? But if I said the same thing, I have 100 people subscribe to my YouTube channel. Those the 25 people who actually watch the video are probably going to believe me more or better. They're going to find that more trustworthy.
That's why I like Twit TV. I've bought so many things off Twit TV. Why? Because I've listened to hours and basically years of content from them. I know how they work with the ads. I know which ones sound like they're just doing an ad, and other ones where they're like, oh my God, that's kind of cool, or whatever like that. So I get a lot of stuff from them. And then, of course, Instagram, which is just fucking insane. I can't be on Instagram because it just costs me too much money. It really does. Like great. Every fucking ad I get is like exactly what I wanted and didn't know I needed.
Oh, yeah, dude, they know how to market to everybody.
Oh, man. They just know you inside out, right? I mean, it's perfect. Someone should you should just take whatever I get advertised on Instagram, and I should just advertise that on anything I do. And I guarantee you they'd sell all of them, because they're just exactly targeted for me. So anybody who's watching me is going to love all of the crap that I get sent, basically. Because it's just, if you're a nerd like me, you're going to love, of course you need what was the big one? The recent one is the glide cam, the cam the cable cam.
Oh, I haven't
Have you seen
that.
This thing? No. Oh my God. It's a little like Arduino with a couple of motors on it, and you attach it to a cable, and you can put your cell phone on it, and you can just do these crazy great shots, these camera shots on a cable. Ooh. So it goes.
So it's like those professional cameras that go on it's like a slider, but it uses a cable, right?
Yeah. So you can set up your own
genius, dude.
And you could put a little mirrorless DSLR or whatever you want on there, but like that kind of stuff. Or, another perfect one. That's that conversation with Alan was about this thing, which was an ad on my Instagram stream, because the guy from Tested did it. The Mythbusters guy is Savage. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that was totally Instagram. Oh, that's the way to do it. There you go. Sorry, guys, we're out.
That thing's so cool, dude.
Dun, 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 dun,
Hey, let me hit a couple more of these super chats,
Yes.
and then we'll finally get to topics. I promise. We had to,
What are the
we had to wait
topics
for
today? I should even
520 people to get in here. Actually, I think one of them was yours, David. I think one of the topics.
We are doing the space race. Okay.
Yeah, we are absolutely, dude. That's topic number one. Let's see here. Jeffrey Tripp, thank you for the $2. He said we compromised our own security by posting on Facebook. I mean, it's true. Like every single thing that you post online is like giving somebody another piece of data to better social engineer you with. It's like, what big eyes you have, Grandma.
It's not just Facebook, man.
No, it's everything.
It's been the fact since 1994. Like, don't just blame the new stuff. Like,
just
y'all
remember,
been putting your shit out there
bills.
since
You got a phone. You're walking around. They could tell you where you've been. It's going to tell you, yeah.
What I try to tell people is that dollar bills aren't the only currency, okay? Everything that comes out of you is currency to somebody. I don't care if it's free, the poop going in the toilet, your urine. To somebody down the line, there is some profit to be made. It will be made. So when you're looking at Facebook and Twitter and any other service that advertises itself as free, the first thing you have to think of is how can it be free? Like it requires resources to exist. Therefore, somebody has to pay for those resources. So free does not exist. Free is even if somebody just donates $10,000 to you, that is not free. They have a reason. There is a purpose that they're doing that. It could be for self gratification. It could be for advertisement of themselves.
Let's find out someone.
Yeah, somebody. Hey, prove my point right now. That'd be fantastic.
Altruism is near impossible.
Yeah, it's like that's why I always get mad at people that are like
altruism is false.
Yeah, I get mad at people when they donate to something. They're like, you don't have to like say publicly how much you donated to something. That's like so tacky and stupid. And you just want attention. It's like, dude, if it gets somebody to donate, though,
they call it signaling. It's a great term. Signaling.
They can suck it because here's the thing. I don't care how much of a piece of shit you are. If you donate like $1 million to a good cause just so you can brag about it and get the marketing from it, knock yourself out. Please do it again.
Yeah, go for it.
Do it again and again and again because I don't have $1 million to give to that cause, and that's going to do a lot of good. So if they want to,
I don't care why you do good.
Yeah, incentivize the shit
If you do good, great.
Yeah, people do good things because you incentivize it, not just to be altruistic. No. Let's see what else we got here. He said, Bullet Tooth Tony, good name by the way. Thank you for the £5. He said, I love your random chats with you three. Put the world to rights. What? I love it.
It's our job.
We were talking about like all the social media stuff.
Got it.
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel, thank you for the $5. Ridge Gaming, thank you for the $5. Said your wholesome content is the best. Is that wholesome content?
Not really.
He said, I found out my friends now lurk in your streams.
Oh,
he's my nephew. He said his friends are lurking in my stream. So your friends are watching your uncle make bad jokes about banging your aunt.
Oh dear God!
I get him every time, man. Over on my Twitch. I'm so mean. I'm such a mean guy. Andrew P, thank you for the $5 for the big hug. Appreciate that. Scroll on down here. Wow, man, there's quite a few people jumped in since we last did this. Let's see here. Starbuck Tech, damn, dude, come with the $20 USD. Woo! He said, love the show. You three are amazing. Oh, you're just such a sweetheart. JP, thank you for the $5. He said, I had a plantar's wart removed from my arch of my foot. One of the most horrifying, painful experiences of my childhood.
God, that is sensitive.
Horror movie level stuff. Yeah, that'd suck if it was in a place where you had to put weight on it because it doesn't hurt to get them removed. Like the liquid nitrogen burning, honestly, if they do it right, is pretty painless. Like it might tingle or sting a little bit. But if you had to step on that every day, like with the burn, because it is a burn. I mean, it literally like it's freezing, but it's like it still is considered a burn. Roger R, thank you for the €5. He said, gonna have to watch this show later, but in the meantime, here's a small tip. Well, we'll always take the small tip, buddy. It's better than a big tip. No shit. I guess it depends on what prison you're in. Blue Star Love Life, thank you for the $5. Said, okay, please go to Dr. Christopher Miller on Neurospine, get a new titanium back, like my wife, and get out here off-roading. Oh, so I can do off-roading if I get a titanium. Dude, if they give me a titanium back, I'd like that. By the way, quick little segue. I went to my doctor. I'm going to do a full video on Patreon. I was too upset yesterday, but I had an appointment with my doctor. Basically, there's nothing more that they can do for me to help with my chronic back pain. Other than I got to go see a doctor about getting a gastric bypass and hormone therapy. And then after that, I have to go to intense physical therapy. And then after I lose all the weight, they're going to have to do spinal injections probably for the rest of my life. And even that isn't guaranteed to fix things much. It's just going to make them a little better. So my life sucks, guys. It sucks, but at least, I mean, I told everybody I'm going to do whatever the doctor tells me to. So if I have to go in and get like, you know, freaking bariatric surgery and have to go to physical therapy and strengthen my SI joint and get a bunch of shit done on my back, so be it. I'm going to do it. I'm all in. Miss Liz, thank you the $5 Canadian. She said for her friends. I know Miss Liz, the only moderator in the world that actually gives money to the stream she's moderating. She pays us to moderate. Is that a Canadian thing? Like she feels obligated to? Like she's renouncing her citizenship if she doesn't?
Sorry.
Sorry,
Miss Liz.
We love Miss Liz. She's awesome.
We do.
AC's drafting. Thank you for the $20. Another huge tip. Thank you, sir.
$20.
He said, love the show. Thanks and cheers. Well, thank you for the support. We appreciate that. And Johnny Winter bringing in the 50 Danish kronars. He said, okay, here's a little dono to you guys. Heading out. Have some fun. Be safe. We will do our best. I am dead serious when I say this is the thing that I look forward to the most every week.
Dude, it's great.
I like doing this more than I like doing my own Twitch stream.
Last week sucked. I mean, you guys were great, but I had to freaking clean.
Yeah, I saw that. You even posted the pictures. I thought you were bullshitting me, but you know, you can't fake pictures on the internet, dude. You can't fake pictures.
No, God, no. I spent this is why we need a cleaner, because I spend like an entire afternoon cleaning a toilet. Like I get obsessed. It's like ridiculous.
With a toothbrush or something? Like how long is it?
No,
how is it taking you that long?
Well, because the ceiling, you get up there and then all of a sudden there's like,
that's not the toilet.
The ceiling.
That's the ceiling.
Then, well, the toilet is the Brits are very good about making.
Oh, you've got like a water closet.
The water closet.
Yeah, I have a separate room for my toilet too. That was the first time I've.
No. It's all in the same room, but it's got a little. It's just there's a lot of glass and stuff. My wife made it look all nice, and it just takes for fucking ever to clean. And I'm just obsessive about it. Like I can't. I'm absolutely obsessive. Anyways, no. Point being was I missed last week, and I just like honestly, it's like I need to charge up.
I know I had to do a whole stream with Aux, man. Just me and him. You know how hard that was without you here, bro?
So
sorry. I'm so sorry.
I would have rather licked a cheese grater. It was fucking awful.
Mike B, thank you for the $20. Said Jerry, get a better chair that make a huge difference. Yes, I am actually next week. I'm going to find a Herman Miller. I can't afford a new one though.
I was like, man, it looks like you got a fucking nice ass chair already.
I do. No, it's a fantastic chair, but unfortunately my back is so freaking bad now at this point that I need something that leans forward, and this one won't lean forward. So because of my SI joint now I need to either be like this, which isn't very good for live streams, or I have to be like, you notice, like this. You guys can't see down, but I'm leaning forward. And because this gaming chair leans back at like a 1 or 2 degree angle, it's just enough that my SI joint just starts on fire after like 3 hours.
You need like some kind of like a strap system, like
just to dangle me, like lawnmower man,
like the guy in that dude guy who would like float around, like so there was like that what was his name, Harkness, Baron
from Dune, from Dune,
yeah. And he had he was all like
Baron Harkonnen,
they just lit the Harkonnen.
Yep, that's right.
You could like float around and shit. I'd love that.
He was like, dude, there was like in the big hover chair. He was like the guy from Wall-E, except for the chair could go higher.
But you want some kind of a system that just like that you could like tweak exactly where your spine is. You know what I mean?
Dude, it'd be so amazing. The problem is though, is no matter what position I'm in, this is why I don't sleep well, is no matter what position I'm in, as soon as the muscles around my SI joint that I have on both sides of my pelvis, once it relaxes, it just caves in on the nerve. So I have to constantly be in a state of flex. Like if I ever relax, it gets 10 times worse. So like even when I'm just like laying in bed, I'm just like unconsciously just doing like a crunch. And like,
luckily, Jerry doesn't do relaxed.
I don't do relaxed.
I don't think I've ever seen you relaxed.
No. And the funny thing is, like, so most people just take like a muscle relaxer if they have a muscle spasm, and I do sometimes because if I don't, the muscle like gets so damaged it takes a week to recover. But I know the second I take a muscle relaxer that I'm fucked because it'll pinch those nerves. Like you know that burning sensation you get down your leg when you pinch your sciatic nerve. I just get every time I relax, like if I lay down, I take a deep breath and I just fully try to relax. I just get this instant shooting burning sensation down my ass, shaking down my leg.
Jesus.
And so this is what they have to do. So now, in addition, they said the weight loss is just basically to put less pressure on the joint. Like that's obviously that's just gravity, right? That's common sense. But it's not going to fix it. It's just going to make me be able to tolerate it a little bit longer. And I can't take anti-inflammatories, which is what they would prescribe for this specific issue. So I can't take those. So they have to use a steroid-based anti-inflammatory, which has to be like injected into my back every 45 days. That does help a little bit, but it's like really hit and miss. Like 1 month, it was like the most
not want to hit
amazing
and
thing.
miss that.
No, and you don't. But the thing is, like, it's weird. Some months it works, some months it doesn't. So it's a very expensive, like roll of the dice. And it sucks because the only way that I can actually like get any kind of pain relief or be able to be mobile and like get up and move more than like 10 minutes at a time is I have to strengthen my ass muscles, basically my glutes. Those are the ones that support your SI joint the most. So I literally have to go to physical therapy to strengthen my ass.
Huh.
So
you need to Van Damme, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be this guy with a big old pot belly and just this like rock
Buns
solid. Like I'm
steel.
gonna have abs on my ass. My ass is gonna be like rippled 12-pack on both cheeks. Just
You're
so
gonna
I
have
can
like
support it.
you're gonna be standing between two giant semi trucks, like in a T formation.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Remember that? Remember
Playing
that?
Orinoco Flow.
Yeah.
That was the greatest video ever.
Van Damme.
Oh my god, dude.
Weed doesn't work for him. Oh, people have asked about that.
Everybody
already.
does.
Everyone
Honestly,
thinks that's the cure to fucking everything.
so
now.
even on my Patreon, it's like I make a
Yeah.
video on Patreon. Every video I say, I get that out of the way and say, oh, I've tried that. And even then people will still join and be like, oh, dude, you got to try it. You just didn't do the right dose or you didn't do the right strain. And it's like, no, I have a bad reaction to it. Has nothing to do with the strain. It's like I have an adverse reaction to CBD and THC. And if you have an adverse reaction
Then
to
you're
something,
doing
you
it
can't
wrong.
take it. I know. And that's
Yeah.
what they say. They're like, oh no, you got to use like the special one that doesn't do that to you. And it's like, no, you don't understand. It's not the blend.
it's the cult of CBD.
Yeah, it's the psychoactive component
Everybody.
in
What did
THC,
she
and
like?
CBD gives me like it makes me nauseous and I vomit, which is the opposite of what it's supposed to do.
There is nothing that people don't claim isn't cured by CBD at this point. Now.
And the
It's
funny thing is,
it's
I let the
fucking
internet,
ridiculous.
dude, I let the internet talk me into. I spent like $2,000 over the course of a month on every single like edible. I mean, I went on like a bender and I was throwing up, and everybody's like, just stick with it. It was the most horrible month of my life. And I didn't make it the whole month. It was like 3 weeks in. I was like, screw it. I just took the bag and gave it to my friend. And he was like, oh, thank you. Because like, free weeds.
Yeah. Right
But I
on.
was like, I couldn't do it anymore. I tried everything. I tried like every single thing, every delivery method except for smoking, because I can't do that because my lungs are really sensitive. Like there's no like vaping hurts.
Well, and that just for me, it just seems like the smoking of it. It just seems like what the fuck. Like any plus that you're doing has got to be like just destroying your lungs at the same time.
Yeah, it's like, well, everything is a trade-off, right? In life, that's one thing that I've learned, even with the medication for my back pain, is it's like it's always a trade-off. There's no 100% gain and 0% loss. It's always what can you do that gives you a net gain overall. And some things don't do that. And if they don't, it's not worth doing it. Like if you trade like a minor symptom for a major symptom, that's not doing you any good.
Yeah.
It's
But
like
Barnacules, you should just be living your life with your bad back. Like, why would you want to cure it?
Oh yeah, you're an asshole.
or everybody
such
just
a-
like the most common one is, dude, if
blocking
you
you.
just lost the weight, you wouldn't have any pain. But what they don't realize is I gained the weight because I'm bedridden because of the pain that I had even before I put the weight on. So it's like it's a symptom of it, but they don't understand. They're like, lose the weight. And even my doctor, it's like, you need to lose the weight to take the pressure off your SI joint. Is it going to solve the problem? No. Even he's realistic about it. He's like, no, this isn't going to solve the problem, because the problem is the inflammation of the nerve that runs through your SI joint. That thing's just permanently inflamed and jammed in there, and you can't take the medication that will fix that we would give to 99% of the population. So we have to go in there and stab it and inject you with steroids. But what do steroids do? They weaken muscle. And so it's trading one good thing. It's helping with the inflammation of the nerve, but it's also weakening the muscles that are supporting the joint. So now I have to go to physical therapy to offset the diminishing muscle by building it back up forcefully. So it's like, you're constantly trading one thing for another. But yeah, that's the sad thing is people are, my analogy that I use is it's like walking up to like a paraplegic guy and go, dude, if you just got up and walked around more, you wouldn't be paraplegic. Like, dude, the only reason you're stuck in that chair is because you don't walk enough. Like, if you just got up and walked, man, you'd be able to use your legs again. And everybody seems to have that like weird mentality of like, they just look at you and they're like, well, you're fat, so obviously, okay, you carry the one. That means that you can't walk because you're fat. But it's like, no, but I didn't get this way. Like, I was active before. Like, I wouldn't have got this way if it wasn't for me being taken out by my back. Like, that's it. It's like when you are stationary and you don't move a whole lot, and you're depressed all the time because you can't move a whole lot, and you can't sleep because surprisingly you don't sleep well when you don't physically exhaust yourself. So you end up having bad insomnia. All these things add up to just bad life.
Do
And
people
so
think they're being helpful? I mean,
they genuinely do
this?
think they're being helpful.
They do. Well, okay.
Yeah, no,
All right.
I've even had like really nice people. It's like I try not to get too offended by it anymore just because I'm used to it. Like on Patreon, I've had people message me and go, I know you've heard this 1,000 times before. And I'm like, okay, here it comes. And it's like, if you just lost the weight, you'd be like so much better off and, and you wouldn't have to deal with these problems. And it's like, you don't understand. I had these problems before. And the sad thing is I let it actually hurt me really bad. Like people were like, you got to lose weight. You got to lose weight. So I went on the keto diet because it was recommended by my surgeon after they worked on my, my blood clot. That again, everybody's like, you got a blood clot because you're fat. No, I got a blood clot because I have a rib that sticks up into my freaking return blood flow from my right arm, and that they were actually going to go in and file off. And this is actually a fairly common thing. I forget what they call it, but when you have scoliosis, one of your ribs they call it your fifth rib or whatever, it sticks up like this. And so it's jamming into that vein. So they put me on blood thinners so that it could create a new vein workaround. Like it basically created a new pipe over the course of 6 months. And everybody's like, oh yeah, that wouldn't have happened if you just lost the weight. So I'm like, okay, fine. You guys did it. You got to me. I'm going to lose the weight. Surgeon recommends, a dietitian puts me on keto. I lose 46 pounds in 3 months. Like, I mean, I was crazy. Like I should go, I looked at the pictures and I was like, holy shit, how can you lose that much weight in that short period of time? The problem was they didn't account for me having high uric acid because the keto diet was really, really high in things that cause uric acid. And because my two doctors weren't talking to each other, I ended up going on this thing and I'm like, why do I feel so bad? I lost 46 pounds and I was like walking around like an arthritic man and I was in a lot of pain and I couldn't make a fist and my joints and my fingers hurt and it was hard to type. And I'm like, what's going on? I go in and piss in the cup and they're like, oh yeah, you're basically pissing like pure uric acid. It ate away my joints. I formed uric. I basically got gout in every joint in my body from the uric acid settling, and it tore up all my joints. So all the cartilage and stuff that's in all my joints was basically sanded away by uric acid crystals. And by the time they caught it, it was too late. Now you can't.
I thought keto was bad for you anyways. It is.
It actually is long
to do it short. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing though, is the benefits would have outweighed, like the surgeon and the dietitian said, yeah, this isn't something you want to do for any more than a year, but it would help you rapidly lose the weight, which would make you more active. And by being more active, it would lessen your chance of having a clot because clotting happens a lot more frequently when you're stationary. So, so movement was that like the goal. And so it all made sense. I mean, and the diet was like, keto diet, as far as a diet that's easy to follow, it's like keto is probably the easiest one to follow.
If it's white, you don't eat it. That's generally
basically eat as much as you want, as long as it's meat.
I lost a ton of weight on keto. I did the keto thing for like a year and I lost a lot of weight.
But the problem is you go look at people that do keto and one of two things happens. Either they stay on keto and then they develop really bad gout problems and organ problems, kidney and liver, or they go off of keto and they gain back more than they lost, which is unfortunately what happens. So,
which is me. That's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah.
Because so that's trying to sustain that is very difficult. Like you want something that you could just sustain. Like that's, and look, the sad reality is over 30, everything can be improved by losing weight.
No,
like
it's basically true. It is true
because it's just it's like it's the less of you there is to go wrong. It's like the doctor says that to me all the time, constantly. Yeah. He's like, I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like I just feel so slow and I feel like kind of puffy. And he's like, yeah, you're fat.
Yeah, like, no, and that's the thing. I've always wanted to lose the weight. Nobody wants to be this way, big. No, not I've never wanted to be this way. It's not a point of pride at all. It's just I get frustrated when people are like, you're big because you like it wasn't the pain. You're in pain because you got big, and it's like, no, you don't understand. It was because I was in pain. I couldn't move.
Yeah,
and
if I could run around, I'd be fucking running around.
Yeah, another thing too is the most important thing to weight loss is sleep. That is the single most because your
is it really?
Your circadian rhythm is what regulates your metabolism. So,
good night, everyone.
So if you don't sleep for like 8 hours, it's like, I think the older you get, it gets shorter. You only need like, I think when you're 40, you need like 7 hours or 6.5 hours or something like that.
Good luck.
But if you don't get a full night of like REM uninterrupted sleep, it throws off your circadian rhythm and basically gives you insomnia. And then your metabolism changes when it peaks throughout the day. So you don't have energy when you need it. And you do have energy when you don't. And then that like starts giving you insomnia. And your body will try to adapt to that. But the problem is it's a continuously moving target, because everything you do to try to correct it throws off your sleep again. So sleeping at the same time which I can't do. I've tried sleeping every night consistently at the same time and staying asleep soundly and waking up is like critical to weight loss and fitness. Like it's probably the most important thing except for diet itself. Diet obviously is the number one thing. But yeah, and the problem is I have terrible sleep. I never sleep for more than about an hour and 15 minutes before I wake up and I'm fully conscious and have to go back to sleep again. So it's just a series of naps. I don't sleep continuously. It's just a series of naps. I have to wake up and reposition myself because I compress my SI joint. and it pinches that nerve again, and then I have to move to the other side. So I'm just flip-flopping all night, probably 8 or 10 times throughout the night. And so I just don't get a sound sleep. And I can't, because no matter what position I lay, what I really need is somebody needs to invent a bed that just does like this. Like one of those things that like rolls eggs.
It's called a boat.
Yeah, like that's what I need. I just sleep on a boat with some like decent tides going on. Because if I had something that just shifted my weight on my SI joint, then I probably wouldn't have to wake up and roll over. So somebody invent that for me, and I'd be happy to try that, because it turns out SI joint problems are really, really common in a lot of people.
And just moving the bed would do that?
I think so. I think, well, not just moving it like this. I think it'd have to actually like rock it, because you need to you need to change the angle basically of the weight, right? So that you're taking it directly off the joint and redistributing it, and then if the joint shifts, because it relaxes, the joint shifts or whatever, then you switch back the other way, and it basically just keeps it in constant motion. It's like those. You know what I need is one of those pneumonia beds. Have you seen those in the hospitals? So people that have like really bad pneumonia, they do it for COVID too. If you get really bad pneumonia in your chest, where you have fluid that's constantly building and they can't pump the fluid out as fast as it's forming, they put you in this bed where they strap you down and they put you in a coma, because there's no way you could be awake during this. And they basically have this thing that just rolls. It flips you upside down and rolls you around like a freaking gyroscope bed.
Stops it from sitting in any.
Like, yeah. It keeps the fluid from pooling in your lungs. Basically, it moves it around, so the puddle's constantly moving as they're vacuuming it out, and that way you're not constantly submerging like parts of your lungs in fluid. And I forget what they call the bed, but man, it is wild.
We just lost a 13-year-old kid here to COVID. That's sad, which I didn't even know that happened.
No, it's rare, but it does happen. Young kids do get hit really hard by this. I mean. And the thing is, too, they're like saying now that that was the mRNA vaccine. The people that are having like bad reactions to it, they're saying are genetically dispositioned to have had a really rough time with the actual virus.
Yeah, they're wondering if there's a tie to that.
Because remember, it's your antibody response that causes you to need to be ventilated. Like the inflammation in your lungs that it causes is your body trying to respond to fighting an infection. It's basically it's going into overdrive. It's a, what do they call it? A massive histamine response. And so if the mRNA thing that's telling your body how to create the antibodies is triggering that heavy of an immune response in your body, the live virus would have made you probably go to the hospital potentially. So
I had virtually nothing. I just nodded off a lot.
Same with me. That's why I think I had it.
I just fell asleep.
I think I had COVID before this whole thing went. I had really bad pneumonia for about a month and a half. About 30 days before they announced this on the radio, and it was like remember Ground Zero was only 11-minute drive from me. So Jane and I got sick around February as well. No, before February. God, I can't keep track anymore. Yeah, so I genuinely think I already had it. Like because but the thing is,
have you had the antibody test yet? Can you get the antibody test?
No, and it wouldn't do any good now because I have the full vaccine. So I already got my second dose of Pfizer 2 weeks ago. So my antibodies should be at their highest point as of like 3 days ago.
Mine should be ready by September of next year.
Dude, that's so fucked up.
What? We're so screwed. I mean, look, they've picked up the pace a bit, but it's
you guys need to just drive down here and get it. Dude, we have them in such supply down here. It's like you can go to CVS and just get one.
Dude, get this. The premier of, I think it was like Alberta or something, one of our provinces, said that people should do that. Said, you know what, just drive down the States and go and get your vaccinations down there. I was like, that's really? Funny, man. This is the Canadian healthcare system. Go down the States and get it done properly.
Go steal it from them.
Anyways, I realize I'm supposed to be on a chat with my friends.
No worries, brother. No worries.
I've completely gone way over.
I know you guys are way too interesting. You almost made it a full
space. Actually, you know what? I've missed it anyways. I'm gonna be coming in for the last 2 minutes anyways.
Well, you should just give them the room and tell them to come over here, and we'll just have like a bunch of people jump in.
Exactly.
Just have them join this, and we can all talk about stuff.
Which would work because I do have to go in maybe about 10 minutes as well.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, let's do 10 minutes on space.
The 12:45 ish space.
What do you want to talk about? You want to do space race?
Florida, China into space.
It's not just China though. It's so funny. It's China. It's India. It's like Russia.
Yeah, China's going next level, though. China's like, we're going to build our own space station, neener, because we won't let them on ours for some reason.
Well, Russia, too, though. Like, Russia's totally all over this right now.
Yeah. I have a question. Why won't we let the Chinese on the International Space Station, but the Russians are there? Like, what?
Probably because they didn't help. They didn't help.
Is that what it is?
I'm guessing.
What do you mean they didn't help? Like, 90% of the technology on that damn thing probably came from semiconductors from China.
That's true.
If that's not
But we
help,
paid
I don't
for
know
it.
what is.
Built from parts made in China.
Yeah.
That still,
Make and
hey,
take.
hey, that still
Yeah.
counts. That still counts, bro. When they show up with the bucket of parts, okay. So,
But we literally don't let them on the International Space Station.
no, we have some weird. We're the only country that doesn't allow any space access to China. Like India allows it, Russia allows it, like, but we will not let them step foot on the International Space Station because of some stupid treaty.
Let's see here.
Wow.
China is
Or are they scared that they're going to like? They're scared they're going to hack it.
No, but what I don't get is like the Russians are already on there, and the Russians are allies with China. So if there was anything up there that was like critical to the United States, like strategic intelligence or something, the Russians already have access to it, which means China already does by proxy. So why does it matter if you bring up Chinese cosmonauts?
I guess it's in let's see, it was in 2011. They passed some defense thing, blah blah blah. NASA can't use any money from their division, I guess, to collaborate in any way with China unless a law specifically authorizes it, because they're viewed as a government that seeks to take our intellectual property. There has always advocated the peaceful use of outer space, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, they're afraid that...
So they're worried because China spies, basically.
Yeah, they'll take our stuff.
Spies and steals.
Oh, and Russia doesn't? Like,
well,
come
and America
on.
doesn't, and none of us do. I mean,
yeah,
for
Russia
God's sake.
created like one of the first vaccines for COVID, right? And it's strikingly similar to all the other mRNA vaccines or whatever.
Is it, or are they saying that it is? Because
apparently it was tested, like by the World Health Organization. They said it was.
Insanely skeptical of anything Russia says, especially when they put their shit out to be first. Like, come on, that's just going to grow a fourth eyeball out of your hand or something.
I think they literally just copied the Chinese vaccine and just experimented on their people. They were just like, fuck it, roll the dice. We're not going to do any testing.
Gulags.
Because it's the same. It's the same one we put through phase 3 trials and it worked good. So I think they just rolled the dice. I think if it hadn't worked, they would have killed a ton of other people, but they just didn't care because they just wanted to be first to the. They
probably did.
Yeah,
just didn't tell nobody about it.
Yeah, but apparently this is the weird thing about it is all the mRNA vaccines are so perfectly similar. That's the weird thing. There's like a couple things at the beginning and a couple like little RNA codons at the end, but the bulk of the payload is identical for like 3 different companies.
Because they're all targeting the same thing, right? They're all targeting the spike, right? That makes sense.
They're all going to, they're all similar because they're all doing the same thing.
No, but so perfectly
based on the
similar?
same thing. Because
it's just because that unique identifier of the virus is that spike. So they're all going to target that spike.
I suppose. Like if they copied it from the virus, right?
Cell phones are all the same, right?
And we're all
the same form factor because it's the way that works to accomplish the goal. Like you think, iPhone and Samsung, they all look the same because they're what other shape is it going to be?
Oh, never mind.
It was based on the same. It was based on the same.
It wasn't mRNA
as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't mRNA. Apparently, the Sputnik V is actually just a traditional vaccine, so that's why they were able to do it so fast. But it
just got dead virus.
Yeah, and they didn't do any testing, obviously, because that's the only way they could have gotten it out that fast enough. Because remember, we all found out about this COVID thing around the same time. Like give or take a couple of months. So if they developed the vaccine, it would have taken them, about the same time to develop a traditional vaccine, which isn't long. It doesn't take long to isolate it and create a dead version of the virus to put in your body. It's a very simple thing, right? We've been doing it for 50, 100 years. So it does make sense that they went that route. But the fact is they obviously didn't do the testing. Because that's the only way they could have beat everybody else to market is just to say, fuck it, traditional vaccine.
Well, we all did reduce testing. Like we all did reduce testing on this. There's no way any of these, if we'd gone through the traditional procedures, it would have taken 4 years. But so there was definitely emergency, emergency approach to it.
I do agree with that.
And why not? Of course, because again, like in everything related to medicine, there are pluses and minuses, and there are risks and rewards. And you, in a risk where people are dying, you take a risk that might cause people to get sick. I mean,
the mRNA thing though is game changer. That's going to change everything because it doesn't just. This is the first, I believe, the COVID-19 vaccination, which is what is it? AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna. I think are those the mRNA ones. I don't
think AstraZeneca is.
Okay, maybe it wasn't because that's the one they pulled, right? So
I know
AstraZeneca. 2 or 3 of them are the mRNA variant, and they're the ones that are most successful and the ones that they're saying have the highest efficacy.
I think the AstraZeneca. No, I don't remember. I don't remember now. And maybe it is an RNA. Now I think about it because they give you the monkey flu. I know that.
Yeah, and I know the Johnson & Johnson one is a little bit traditional. It's like it's somewhat different, but it's a traditional dead virus. Vaccine. But here's the thing with the mRNA stuff is like this is the first time we've actually used it like in broad, like in a broad sense. and it's going really well. It's going like insanely well. Like it's exceeding their expectations. Even with the people that have had allergic reactions, they've managed to get them under where they've been able to get them under control. It's acceptable. Like for over the course. I mean, I know it's never acceptable, but you look at the statistics, it's actually doing better than they expected. The cool thing about mRNA though is because it's working, this can be used for anything. mRNA can be used for cancer. It can be used for AIDS. It can be used. The mRNA approach to just protecting cells, like embedding code so that they can protect themselves. It works for everything. It already
is, isn't it? It was. I mean, they were using it before, right?
And not that I know of in broad. I think this was the first broad deployment. They might have been like trials, but this is the first time that it was like prime time to the public, and tens of millions of people that we know.
The other thing is the cryo microscopy as well. The idea that they're now able to. They're now able to very clearly inspect tiny fractions of cells and things now in a way that they couldn't before, and that has also been a huge. There was this nice little sort of culmination of different technologies, but the idea that they can freeze these things and get such a perfect. They used to call it what they used to call the scientists who examined viruses like blobologists, because everything was so blurry, because they just couldn't get a clear image of this stuff because it would just fall apart as soon as you zap it with your electron. Whereas now it's like they are beautiful, and it's gonna change everything.
Cryo electron microscopy.
Yeah, I want that on a T-shirt.
I built a machine for the UW biology department or sub department that they were doing that. So basically they cryogenically freeze viruses and things, and then they take a bunch of low res 2D images, or like these tiny slices basically, and they can stitch them all together into a high res 3D model, so that they can then take that and see and simulate how it will react to their medications and stuff, how proteins are folded and different ways of getting into the
But the size of those images are so huge that in many cases they need these like high power computing systems to just to manipulate them.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I genuinely think we're going to see a cure for maybe not all cancers, but I think we will see some cures for some of the more deadlier cancers here in the next probably 5 years. Like beyond treatment, actual cure.
It'll be more well, maybe, because capitalists don't want cures, right? But
they also don't want to kill somebody when they have more potential to generate money over their life as a productive citizen than dying from selling them the cure or the treatment for 5 years and still having them die. So that's why I say some cancers, right? The ones that break the mathematical formula and you're not worth as much dead, then you'll get cures for those ones.
Yeah, I like it though. You'll see a lot more silver bullet cures where they'll take your special whatever's weird with you and design a very special cocktail to.
Well, and that's where we need to go. Like right now we're creating vaccines for everybody. The reality is in the future, you're going to be able to they're going to be able to take a sample and then tell you exactly that's it. And and get things that are tailored specifically to what you need. It's really exciting about what's going to happen. And
plus it's based on CRISPR, right? So in theory, if you learned enough on the internet, with over-the-counter things that you can purchase, you should be able to go into your garage, make a sterile area, and create your own vaccine. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but I'm saying that the methods that they use for the mRNA injection using CRISPR is stuff that's available to you. You can change all those instructions yourself. It's going to be hard to do without the specialized equipment, but not impossible. So look, once David that happens, you'll have people that you can't stop, right? You're going to have the government's not going to be able to stop the dude in his shed, up in Alaska or whatever, building the cure for cancer. Once it's out on the internet, it's published.
It's like this with computers, right? I mean, all of a sudden you go, oh my God, that computer's more powerful than the one that the military are using. You can't do that. Well, now it's going to do the same thing with biology, right?
Yep.
It's the biohacking thing. Right?
And I think that the technology is getting the point too, where it's like the average person can understand it. And if a cure doesn't come out when everybody understands why there should be one, you're going to have a lot more outcry and a lot more people creating waves for these companies. Like, I was reading an article, a friend of mine posted on Twitter about how they've figured out how to use ultrasound to break up very specific types of cells. So they can actually create a resonance with ultrasound that'll target a cell based on its weight. By like that, literally, it's like the way the cell is made up. It resonates. It has a frequency it resonates at, and they can actually produce an ultrasound frequency in the nanometers that is so precise that it can literally blow one infected cell up right next to a healthy cell without damaging the healthy cell. So
they're using that in prostate
all right,
cancer.
get out of here.
I
Run.
gotta go. Actually, I should go too.
Sorry, guys.
This seems like a good opportunity.
Thank you so much for hanging out and being awesome.
Goodbye,
Bye. I gotta go. Bye.
All right, everybody bail on me. I'll wrap it up and I'll get the rest of the things done and then we'll shut it down.
I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.
All right, take it easy, guys. Thanks for stopping by.
Follow me on,
Appreciate
follow
it.
me
Yeah,
on
I
Twitch
will,
and Twitter and all that stuff.
Do all that following stuff and put something on his damn ticker.
Yeah, pay me money.
Yeah, there you go. Give AuxxZillary money. He needs a supplemental income because we're not making enough. Damn it! So just go pay him, and then I'll just do it for free.
He's got computers to build.
He does. The dude's got a mission, man. He's a youngster. He's still got a lot of life ahead of him.
That's true. He's gonna start planning now.
Oh, you already checked out. All right, David, it's your turn now. Tell everybody where to find you and what you're doing, and then you can segue out.
I'm at home in my basement, about to start shooting my wife and little sister's movie on Tuesday.
I'm glad you put a movie at the end there. That was
like
looking a
2
little
days.
dark.
You start shooting my wife and little sister. Yeah, exactly.
I was like, yeah, that's a sound bite.
That Swearing Jar. Start filming it on Monday. Watched the read through on. I was in the read through yesterday. It was just amazing.
Good
Just
stuff.
amazing to see it all come together. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Awesome,
so yeah, and then I'm around Twitter, YouTube, all sorts of stuff.
All his links are in the video description. So
just go watch Barnacules. He's more interesting.
It depends on the day.
It always depends on the day.
All right, David,
man.
take it easy,
Have
brother.
fun. I don't know how to hang up. I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out,
Yeah.
and I'll see you next week.
All right, cheers.
All right, peace. Hey, Nigel, thank you for the 10 pounds. That is very nice of you. We really appreciate that. Biker Chris, thank you for the 12 pounds, 69, keeping it 69. He said, hey, Ox, Dave and Jerry. Sorry, they bailed on me. He said, nice mixture of chats. He said, I give more, but I don't have more right now. No, dude, never, ever like apologize for that. We appreciate every single thing. 50 cents, penny, everything helps. He said, keep up the good work. Me hearties. Ooh, I like that. Melted Processor, thank you for the 5 pounds. He said, just because I can. Well, that's as good a reason as any, right? No, I really appreciate it. No, those guys are awesome. I love that every week I get to hang out with those guys. It is literally the highlight of my week in everything that I do. So just a heads up from me, guys, the Tech Talk thing absolutely is going to happen. The live streams on Twitch may be a little bit more intermittent, but I'm still going to try to do 2 to 3 of those a week, for as long as humanly possible. But my future is looking a little bit, bleak. So I may have to, check out here and there to go get, surgery or do like I don't know. I got some physical therapy and shit that I got to do. So I don't know how that's going to affect the streaming schedule, but I will keep you guys apprised over on Twitter. So make sure you're following at Barnacules on Twitter. That's where I pretty much notify everybody of everything going on, like if stream's not happening or where I'm at or what I'm doing. Or if you want to get to the dark stuff, it's over on Patreon /Barnacules, $1 a month, just to keep the haters out. You guys, I honestly appreciate everything that you do for me and my family. It means that absolute world to me. I still can't believe that every week I get to hang out with freaking David Hewlett from Stargate and get to hang out with AuxxZillary, one of the best system builders I've ever known. Super humble and awesome guy. I've got a really awesome life. I really do. I mean, I've got some health shit, but I got an awesome life. So I'm hugely privileged for that, and I love it. Krillin64 said, do what you need to do. YouTube core audience fans will always be here for it. It's true, man. I have one of the most solid viewerships there is, even with the topsy-turvy all over the place. And I absolutely love it. And I couldn't honestly wish for anything more. You guys are awesome. You guys are absolutely awesome. But yeah, I got a little bit of a rough road ahead figuring out this whole busted up back BS and the SI joint stuff. So I got to go in and get another shot here in a week or two. Just quick overview. Very painful procedure. This will be my 4th time going through it, where they use a fluoroscope and they guide a giant needle down into your SI joint in your back and inject this like really viscous fluid that's a steroid. And like I think it's 3 different medications. It's like a fast acting one that numbs you because this would be way too painful otherwise. And you still scream during the process. At least I do, into a pillow. So I don't scare everybody in the waiting room. But I got to do that shot. This will be my 4th one in the left side. And then I go see a specialist for medical weight management. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks I can get in. We don't know what his schedule's like. He may have to refer me to somebody else, but they're going to try to do a non-surgical option by tweaking my hormones and stuff to try to get it so I can sleep and get my metabolism to work again. And if that doesn't work, then chop, I go under the knife. But one way or another, they're going to basically force me to lose the weight. and simultaneously put me through physical therapy to try to build up enough muscle in my ass and in my lower back that I can support my busted ass SI joints and inflamed sciatic nerve. So good times ahead. You know, it's like there's always a new day. There's always a new day. Hey, Kill It's Gaming, thank you for that $5. I really do appreciate that. Let's see here. Art March Animation said you saved a lot of people from BitClout. You know, I know it. I've gotten so many thank yous from that. A lot of people dodged that bullet and dodged that scam, but unfortunately, there's still a lot of fucking idiots out there with big followings that are just marching their followers right into it, and it's hard to watch, but you can't save everybody, right? I did my best. I put a lot of time and resources into that you know nobody else would, and it helped a lot of people. I mean, geez, I saved Mark fucking Hamill from the scam. I saved Luke Skywalker from getting scammed, and that makes me like that's some life-changing shit right there. Hey, AC's Drafting, thank you for the $20. I appreciate that. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to my buddy. You guys probably know him, a 3D printing nerd, Mr. Joel Telling. He is the reigning 3D printer guy on the internet. Yesterday, he did an awesome live stream with none other than Neil Patrick Harris showing him how to set up and use his first 3D printer, which was a Prusa Mark III. Which is a fantastically reliable and amazing printer. So it was a really good choice for him. But if you guys want to burn some time after this, I highly recommend you go over and watch the replay of that stream. It's freaking, it's awesome. It's awesome. Neil Patrick Harris is a special kind of human being. Let's see what else we got here. No, the guy from Dr. Horrible. Exactly. My dime said, get your ass to Mars. Well, I would do better on Mars, like for sure. Like Mars would definitely help with the inflammation of my SI joint. So, Justin said, keep your integrity. It's priceless. Once you lose it, it's gone. No, you're absolutely right. But I can tell you right now, we live in a world where integrity is not really that rewarded. So, you know, me keeping my integrity and me being honest definitely isn't the growth strategy of the century, nor should it be. It just is the way it is. But don't worry, that I've made my decision. Like I said, everything that I've done, everything I talk about, even over on my Twitch streams where I go really, really deep, like this is super censored compared to my Twitch streams. Just if people wonder why I keep them separate, why I don't do all my streams on YouTube, it's because over on Twitch, that's where I just completely fucking let loose. Here, it's a little bit more under wraps and more technology focused. Over on Twitch, I'll literally talk about absolutely anything, even like the most uncomfortable subjects we dive into. But no, my integrity is something that will never be for sale. And actually, you know what? I'm not going to lie to you about that. My integrity absolutely is for sale, but only if my family is to the point where I can't feed them anymore. And there's nothing else I can do, and they're suffering. I will sell every single part of my body and every single part of my mind to the highest bidder to make sure that they have a good life. But hopefully you guys have been so helpful that I'll never have to do that. Hey, Andreas Elf, thank you for the 40 sexes. Like ending the stream with some sexes. That's nice. And Kilts Gaming, thank you for the $5. Appreciate that. And AC Drafting, again, thank you for that $20. You guys have been freaking awesome today. Sorry we didn't get into the Florida finding social media for banning politicians. That was an article that was suggested by AuxxZillary. Unfortunately, I had to go before we could talk about that one. But in a nutshell, I'll give you the overview. Florida just passed legislation where they're going to be fining social media thousands and thousands of dollars a day for banning any politicians for any reasons, even if they're in violation of their terms of service. I mean, it's Florida being Florida, right? Like, did you really expect anything different? You know, they're the same people that like to pass laws that like prevent people from being able to vote. We're also going to talk about the Integrity helicopter on Mars. It's taken all of its flights that they expected to get for the quest, so now they're just free to just mess with it. So expect some pretty crazy stuff coming from that in the future. Maybe some longer flights, higher altitudes that they didn't think they could reach. They're definitely gonna be pushing the limits on that thing. Probably in the not too distant future. So I'm pretty excited to see that. I always love it when they put something on Mars that far exceeds expectations. Like the rover. Remember which rover was it? The last one that they put up there that was supposed to last for like 5 years and it ended up going for like 15 or something like that. And it literally like traversed like half of the freaking planet. I think that's pretty cool that NASA can build something that, Curiosity. It's pretty crazy that NASA can build something that's that resilient, that can hold up over that period of time. I think that's awesome. Krillin64 said social media should just ban people if they need to. Hey, you violate TOS, you get banned. That's the way it is. But you know, Florida that isn't really handling that too well. There are platforms that they can go to though. Like if you don't like what a platform's doing, go to like Odyssey or, which is based on the library cryptocurrency. It's a blockchain video service that's completely uncensored. Well, I shouldn't say completely uncensored. They can censor videos on the website, but they only censor them for very, very specific reasons. Otherwise it's a free for all and everything's in the blockchain. So if they do block something on the website, you can still go to the blockchain directly and play it out of the blockchain. So they can't really censor everything. I mean, the thing is everything has to have some level of censorship, otherwise it just turns into 4chan, right? Or what was the really bad one that got shut down? Was it like 8chan or something like that? The one where everybody was going on there and just posting like horrendously illegal shit like 24/7 under completely anonymous accounts. That's the problem you run into if you create a platform that is 100% open where there's no rules. You end up having exactly Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome times 12. It's going to happen, but aside from that, there's some platforms that have more rules than others. So it's like, figure out which platform best suits what you want to do and, go join it. 4chan though, man, I haven't been to 4chan in years and years and years. I should go there one of these days just to see if it's gotten any better, but I highly doubt it. As a matter of fact, I've seen Reddit even kind of becoming the next 4chan, not in every group, but a lot of them, the ones that are unmoderated or don't seem like they have any moderation. It seems like they snowball pretty fast into some crazy, crazy stuff. Let's see here. Hamza said, hey, Barnacules, what would you say I get for comp sci Mac or Windows? That's actually kind of a good question because here's the thing. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because the Mac can boot camp Windows and Windows technically can VM OS 10. Although I will say that the Mac can run both operating systems at the hardware level much easier out of the box. Well, I can't believe I'm saying that the Apples like can do that easily, but it can. I mean, outside of the M1, I don't know if the M1 supports boot camping Windows 10 on a hardware level yet. I want to say yes, though. I'm not 100%. But I will tell you this, performance wise, like dollar for performance, the PC is going to be the better option. So it just depends. But for laptops, if you just want a laptop that runs both Windows and OS 10 and Linux, all hardware and all at the same time, like, I'd go with Mac personally. If you have the money, if you don't have Mac, and for the Intel Mac, the M1, I don't think can really do that at the hardware level. I think you'd probably have to use a level of emulation. And once you get into the level of emulation, it slows things down pretty dramatically. But as a software developer, as long as you're not doing 3D modeling and stuff like that, or running like Unreal or Unity, you're probably going to be okay for most application development, even under a hardware emulated environment. Just depends on what you're deving. As long as you're not deving stuff that's like super GPU and graphics heavy, you're probably just fine developing under a VM. As a matter of fact, when I was at Microsoft, I did most of my development under a VM just because a lot of the programming we did was destructive. And with destructive programming with a VM, you can just reset its state and try again and reset its state and try again. And it's really, really quick. So it was easier to just set up a build environment under the virtual machine and destroy it than risk blowing up the host and having to reinstall it. So it was worth it. Basically what I'm saying is even back then with just purely software emulation of the hardware, it was still faster to do most of the development work that we did on that than on bare metal running on a host operating system. Craig, my man, thank you for the 25 Canadian dollars. I'm super appreciative. He said, wishing your posterior building adventures all the best. Tech Top is the highlight of my week. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it, Craig, and thank you so much for that support. We really do appreciate it a ton. We really do. Every single super chat that we get during these streams is split right down the middle between me and AuxxZillary, and David doesn't require a paycheck because he's a big, huge Hollywood actor worth like $2.3 billion. And he already owns like, giant palatial mansions in Florida and California and up in Vancouver, BC. And he owns, I don't know, a 3,000 acre plot of land in the UK with a castle on it from the 1800s. I mean, it's pretty baller, man. It's pretty baller. I'm just kidding. None of that's true. He's poor people like the rest of us. All right, guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping it up since we're right on time here at 3 hours, if you don't count our little bit of a late start due to technical issues. You guys have been awesome today. I will be back on Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific over on Twitch TV/Barnacules. So make sure you give me a follow over there. All the links are in the video description if you don't want to try to type that in and learn how to spell it. Also, please make sure you go give a follow to David Hewlett, otherwise known as Dr. Rodney McKay from the Stargate Atlantis franchise, and also go give a follow to AuxxZillary over on Twitter and his other social media networks, including Twitch. They're all on Twitch also. Go give them a follow so that you get a notification when they go live, so you can see what they do when I'm not around. You guys have been amazing. I'll keep you updated on the whole health journey. Probably mostly over on Patreon and on Twitch. Those will be the two places where I talk about it the most. And the goal is to start getting back to some video production once I'm feeling better. Who knows when that's going to be though? Like this has been probably the worst 6 months of my life. As far as just being like completely exhausted and having like, I barely have enough energy to get through a live stream. It takes me another day to recover from it. So, we'll see how this goes. But I'm completely in my doctor's hands. Just to let you know, like nothing was off the table. I said, dude, whatever you think I need to do, even if it's something that we've tried before that just didn't, whatever, I'm going to do anything. So I just put myself in his hands. So if that means I got to go get bariatric surgery and hormone injections and, you know, have to go to physical therapy and work with the isometric bands and stuff. I've done that before. Actually, physical therapy works pretty well. A couple of times I've done it in my life, it actually did help me overcome a lot of the problems that I had at the time. So I'm actually looking forward to the physical therapy, even though it's going to hurt like holy hell. But I already hurt anyway. So I'm to the point now where it's like, do I really care? Like if I'm going to be hurting sitting down, if I hurt more in motion, but ultimately I know I could potentially feel better, I'm going to do it. Because at the end of the day, as long as there's a reward at the end of the tunnel, you will keep going through the maze. Ron, thank you so much for that. Terabyte Killer, thank you for the good day and good well wishes. Same thing with Krillin64. You guys are freaking awesome. Try to avoid back pain though. Chronic back pain that is constant and continuous is honestly, it's weird. It's like I'd rather be on fire for like 10 minutes a day than have what I have now, because it's like it's inescapable and it just rots you. And you guys can clearly see that. It's like I'm going downhill fast. And not just from the weight gain caused by all this. I'm just going downhill fast from a moral standpoint, because when you can't sleep and you can't get comfortable, and every little nap that you take, it's just having nightmares about things trying to justify the pain that's happening to you. Always getting stabbed in the back or punched in the back or shot in the back or driving off a cliff and hitting the ground. These are things my mind comes up with to justify all the weird pains that I'm having. It gets old. All right. Well, I don't want to leave this on a salty note. I just want to let you guys know I love you very much. Thank you for everything that you do for me and my family and my friends. I never take it for granted. Never will. And I will see you guys on Monday. And if you guys don't want to go to Twitch because of the brand loyalty thing, I get it. I'll see you back here again next Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, right here, same bat place. And David and AuxxZillary, as far as I know, are joining me for that stream too. They usually let me know a week in advance if they have to cancel. So, and any topics we didn't get to today, we will get to in that next stream. All right, guys, I think I've said everything I need to say. I will catch you guys over on the Twitter for the duration of this week. Peace out.